She was 9 years old on her knees in the dirt picking up coins, while a teenager poured lemonade over her head. "Beg harder," he laughed. "Maybe your crippled brother will walk if you cry louder." Her brother screamed from his wheelchair. Helpless, trapped, broken. Their father was dead. Their mother worked 3 jobs. The surgery cost $45,000. The jar held $3. But somewhere down the road, 70 engines were already rumbling. 70 men had already heard. And when Hell's Angels ride for a child, the ones who made her crawl will learn what it means to kneel. Welcome to Angels of Dust. Before we begin, comment below where you're watching from. Subscribe and stay until the end. Every comment shows us how far Lily's story has traveled. The jar held $3.75. Lily Mae Hartwell counted it twice just to be sure. 3 crumpled dollar bills, 2 quarters, 2 dimes, 1 nickel. Not enough for anything, but she set up her table anyway. "Lily," her brother's voice came from the porch. "It's 98 degrees. I know. You've been out here since 7. I know, Marcus. Mom's gonna kill you." Lily grabbed her cardboard sign and propped it against the pitcher. Her handwriting was messy, the letters crooked. Lemonade 50C, help my brother walk again. "Mom's at work," Lily said. "She won't know." Marcus gripped the wheels of his chair. 11 years old, thin, pale, his legs hadn't moved in 8 months. "This is stupid," he said. "No, it's not. Lily, the surgery cost $45,000. You're selling lemonade for 50 cents. Then I'll sell 90,000 cups. Marcus opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "That's not how math works." "I don't care how math works." Lily poured lemonade into a paper cup, spilling half of it. "I care about you walking again." She marched the cup up to the porch and shoved it into his hands. "Drink." Marcus looked at the cup, looked at his sister. Her face was red from heat, her hair stuck to her forehead, her eyes daring him to argue. He drank. "Well," Lily demanded. Marcus gagged. Lily, this is just sugar, with a little lemon." "Is that bad?" "It's terrible." "But you're drinking it." Marcus took another sip. His eyes watered. "Yeah, I am." Wow. The first customer showed up 20 minutes later. Mrs. Patterson walked slow, her cane tapping the sidewalk. 73 years old, lived on Maple Street her whole life. Well. She stopped at the table. "What's this lemonade, ma'am? 50 cents. Mrs. Patterson read the sign. Her face changed. "How much does the surgery cost, sweetheart?" $45,000. Silence. Mrs. Patterson reached into her purse, pulled out a 5. "That's too much," Lily said. "Take it." "But take it, child." Mrs. Patterson pressed the bill into her hand. "It's not enough. Lord knows it's not nearly enough, but it's what I have." She took her cup and walked away. Didn't look back. Lily stared at the $5 bill. Her hand shook. "Marcus?" She ran to the porch. $5. She gave me $5. Marcus took the bill, turned it over. His throat got tight. That's great, Lily. At this rate, we'll have enough in..." She stopped. Tried to calculate. "In 9,000 days. Lily's face fell. "Oh." Marcus handed the bill back, forced a smile. "But hey, that's 5 more than we had this morning." Lily nodded slowly, then she turned around and marched back to her table. She would stand there until dark. The truck driver came an hour later. Big guy, beard, tattoos up both arms. He'd seen her from the gas station and walked over. "What are you selling, kid?" "Lemonade, 50 cents. He read the sign, read it again. "What happened to your brother?" Lily's voice went flat, like she'd said this 100 times. "Car accident. 8 months ago. A truck ran a red light. My daddy swerved to save Marcus." She paused. "Daddy didn't make it. Marcus can't walk." The driver didn't move for a long time. Then he pulled out a 20. "I'll take 3 cups." "That's only $1.50. "I know." He stuffed the bill in the jar. "Keep it." Lily frowned. "Why?" He crouched down, eye level. "Because I got a daughter your age, and if she ever needed help, I'd pray to God someone would do the same." He took his cups and walked away. Lily watched him go. $25 in the jar now, still not enough. But something else was in that jar too. Something that couldn't be counted.
Just,
Emma got home at 11:30. Her uniform smelled like grease and bleach. Her feet were swollen. Her hands were cracked from scrubbing hospital floors, then folding sheets at the laundromat, then washing dishes at the diner. 3 jobs, 18 hours, every day, still drowning. She pushed open the door, expecting darkness. Instead, she found Lily on the kitchen floor, coins spread around her like stars. Baby, Emma froze, boy. What are you doing up? Counting. Counting what? Lily held up a handful of coins. $27.50. I made it today. Emma's heart stopped. Made it how? Lily told her everything. The lemonade stand, Mrs. Patterson, the truck driver, 6 hours in the sun. When she finished, Emma pulled her into her arms and held on tight. Oh, baby, you didn't have to. Yes, I did. Sweetheart, Marcus needs his surgery. Lily's voice was fierce. You work so hard, Mama. I wanted to help. Emma closed her eyes. Tears slipped down her cheeks. Do you know how much the surgery costs? $45,000. And do you know how long it would take to... I don't care. Lily pulled back. Her eyes were fire. I don't care if it takes forever. I'll stand out there every single day until we have enough. Emma Ma looked at her daughter, 9 years old, exhausted, stubborn as hell, and for the first time in 8 months, Emma saw something she'd almost forgotten existed. Fight. Okay, she whispered. Then we fight together. Marcus heard everything from his doorway. He wheeled himself back to bed. The chair squeaked in the quiet house. He pulled himself onto the mattress, arranged his useless legs, stared at the ceiling. 8 months ago, he was a normal kid. Rode bikes, played baseball, raced his friends down Maple Street. Then the accident. He remembered the screech first, then the crunch of metal. He'd been riding home from practice, cut across the intersection without looking. The truck came out of nowhere. His father was driving behind him. Daniel Hartwell, 42, Army veteran, the strongest man Marcus ever knew. When Daniel saw the truck coming for his son, he did the only thing a father could do. He put his car between the truck and the bike. The impact killed him instantly. Marcus survived, his spine didn't. Now his 9-year-old sister was selling lemonade in the Texas heat because he hadn't looked before crossing, because their father loved him enough to die. The guilt was a fist around his heart, squeezing every day, every night. He reached under his pillow, pulled out the letter he'd started last week. I'm sorry, it began. This is all my fault. Maybe it would be easier for everyone if I just... He read it 3 times, then shoved it back under the pillow. Not tonight, but maybe soon. Day 2, 7 a.m. Lily was back at her table. The heat was already brutal. Her lips cracked, her skin burned. By 9, she'd made $3. By 10, 5 more. By 11, the dirt bikes showed up. 4 of them, all teenagers. Derek Lawson in front, 16 years old, baseball cap backward, mean smile. He spotted the stand and grinned. Hey, look at this. His friends circled the table. Lily grabbed her jar. Lemonade's 50 cents. Derek snatched the sign. Help my brother walk again. He laughed. What, he's crippled? Give that back. Answer me. He was in an accident. He needs surgery. Give it back. Derek showed the sign to his friends. She's trying to save a cripple with lemonade. They howled. On the porch, Marcus gripped his wheels. Leave her alone. Derek's head snapped around. He saw Marcus, thin, pale, stuck in his chair, and his grin got wider. There he is, the cripple. He cupped his hands. Hey, cripple, how's it feel having your baby sister beg for you? I'm not begging, Lily shouted. I'm selling. Same thing. Derek grabbed the jar from her hands. No, Lily lunged. Derek held it high. Jump for it, beggar, jump. His friends laughed. Lily jumped. Again. Tears blurred her vision. Marcus tried to wheel down the ramp. His arms were too weak. He could only watch. Please, Lily begged. That money is for my brother. Derek looked in the jar. $8, he laughed. Pathetic. He turned it upside down. Coins scattered across the dirt. Lily dropped to her knees, scrambling, grabbing quarters, dimes, pennies. Her hands shook, her tears fell. Derek threw the empty jar at her feet. Have fun saving your crippled brother beggar. They rode away laughing. Lily didn't stop until she found every coin. Her knees were bloody, her face was wet. But when she stood up, her eyes weren't sad. They were hard. Marcus had finally made it down the ramp. Lily, are you okay? I'm fine. You're bleeding. I'm fine. She wiped her face, left a streak of dirt across her cheek. $8.12. I found it all. Lily, Marcus's voice cracked. I'm sorry, this is all my... Stop. But it's true, Dad died because of me. You're out here because of me. Mom works herself to death because we love you, Lily shouted. Daddy loved you, so he saved you. Mama loves you, so she works. I love you, so I'm selling stupid lemonade in stupid heat. She was sobbing now. So don't you ever say it's your fault, Marcus Hartwell. Don't you ever. Marcus stared at her. Tiny, fierce, covered in dirt and blood and tears. I found your letter, Lily whispered. Marcus went cold. What? Under your pillow. I read it last night. Her voice shook. You said maybe it would be easier if you weren't here. Lily, don't you ever think that again. She grabbed his hands, held tight. You hear me? I would sell lemonade until I was 100 years old for you. I would sell it until ye died. So don't you ever think about leaving me. Marcus couldn't breathe. Promise me. Lily's eyes burned into his. Promise you won't leave. I promise, the words came out broken. I promise, Lily. She threw her arms around him. 2 kids against the world. 5 miles out of town, Rusty's bar. The parking lot was chrome and leather. 70 Harley Davidsons. 70 men inside. Hell's Angels. At the center table, Nathaniel Graves nursed a whiskey. They called him Tombstone. 52 years old, built like a tank. Gray beard. Eyes that had seen 3 wars. He'd earned the name in Afghanistan. Survived so many explosions his squad said he was already dead. Just too stubborn to lie down. Came home with medals and nightmares and a daughter named Sarah. Sarah made it all worth it. Then leukemia came. She was gone at 7. That was 15 years ago. Tombstone started the Guardian Angel program the day after her funeral. Their mission: protect children who can't protect themselves. 200 kids saved since then, pulled from abusive homes, stood guard at custody hearings, made sure predators knew some prey had dangerous friends. Now he sat in silence listening to the bartender talk. Breaks your heart, the bartender said. Little girl on Maple Street, can't be more than 9, selling lemonade for her brother's surgery. He's in a wheelchair. Car accident. Tombstone's grip tightened on his glass. And yesterday, Derek Lawson and his punk friends showed up, dumped her money in the dirt, called her brother a cripple, poured lemonade on her head. The table went quiet. Kid just kept picking up her coins, didn't quit. Tombstone set down his glass. Where we? Maple Street, blue house on the corner. Diesel, a massive man, looked up. 45, arms like tree trunks. Vice president. Yeah, boss. Get Whisper. Everything on this family, names, history, all of it. We riding it. Tombstone was quiet. Then, not yet. First we see what this town's made of. Day 3. The boys came back with water balloons. They pelted her stand until the sign was soaked, ink running, unreadable. Day 4. Someone knocked over her table while she was inside. Cups shattered on the sidewalk. Day 5. Derek's mother posted on Facebook, someone should call the health department on that little stand. No permit, no hygiene, probably illegal. 42 likes. Day 6. Victoria Sterling arrived. White Mercedes, blonde hair, Botox smile. Married to the richest man in town. She stopped right in front of Lily's table, rolled down her window. Little girl, what do you think you're doing? Lily straightened. Selling lemonade, 50 cents. Victoria read the sign, laughed. For your brother's surgery. How sad. She leaned out. Does your mother know you're begging? I'm not begging, I'm selling. Same thing, sweetheart. You're asking strangers for money because your family can't provide. Her eyes swept over Lily. Worn clothes, dirty knees, chipped pitcher. Some families just aren't meant to be saved. Lily's face burned. That's not true, Igisha. Oh, honey. Victoria's voice was honey and poison. Look at you. Look at your house. Look at your crippled brother. She nodded toward the porch. Your mother should be ashamed, using her children to beg for scraps. My mother works 3 jobs. And yet, Victoria started rolling up her window. Here you are. She drove away. Lily stood alone, shaking. That night, Emma found her on the kitchen floor, not counting coins, crying. Baby, Emma dropped down. What happened? Lily told her. The bullies, the water balloons, the broken cups, the woman in the Mercedes. She said we were pathetic, Mama. She said you should be ashamed of me. Emma's jaw went tight. She knew Victoria Sterling. Everyone did. Complained if a leaf from someone else's tree landed in her yard. Got 2 families evicted for lowering property values. Listen to me. Emma cupped Lily's face. That woman knows nothing about us. Nothing about what it means to fight, to sacrifice, to love so hard it hurts. Then why did she say those things? Because people like her are afraid of people like us. Lily frowned. Afraid she's not afraid of anything. Yes, she is, Emma's voice was steel. She's afraid that if you succeed, if a little girl with a lemonade stand can save her brother, then what's her excuse? What's her reason for never helping anyone? Lily was quiet. Don't let her inside you, Emma said. That's what she wants. She wants you to quit, to believe you're small. She kissed Lily's forehead. But you're not small, baby. You're the biggest person I know. From the hallway, Marcus listened. For the first time in months, he felt something other than guilt. Pride. Rusty's bar, midnight. Whisper spread documents across the table. Real name, Jerome Dawson. Nobody called him that. He earned Whisper because he could find out anything without making a sound. Emma Hartwell, 35. Widow. Husband, Daniel, was Army. Died 8 months ago protecting their son from a drunk driver. Tombstone studied the photo. Tired woman in a diner uniform. The boy survived, but his spine's damaged. Surgery could let him walk again. Costs $45,000. Another photo. 2 kids. Boy in a wheelchair. Girl with her arm around him. Mother works 3 jobs. Hospital cleaning overnight. Laundromat mornings. Truck stop weekends. Drowning in debt. No family. No support. Just her and those kids. The ones causing trouble. Derek Lawson, 16. Dad owns Lawson Auto. Thinks his kid's untouchable. Whisper paused. And Victoria Sterling. Sterling, Diesel leaned forward. As in Richard Sterling, his wife. She's been posting online. Trying to shut the stand down. Filed a city complaint yesterday. Health code violations. Tombstone's jaw tightened. A complaint against a 9-year-old. Gets worse. Her son Bradley's been hanging with the Lawson kid. Word is they're planning something bigger. Silence. Tombstone looked at Lily's photo again. 9 years old, covered in dirt, standing next to her brother's wheelchair. She looked like Sarah. Ghost. A young man looked up. 28, lean, quiet, eyes that carried old pain. Michael McAllister. Everyone called him Ghost. He'd lost his little sister 5 years ago. Bullied until she couldn't take it anymore. He never talked about it, but he'd never let it happen again. Maple Street tomorrow, Tombstone said. Don't approach, just watch. Let them know someone's paying attention. Ghost nodded. And if those kids come back, then they see what happens when you mess with someone under our protection. Day 7, a Harley appeared on Maple Street. Ghost parked across from Lily's stand, didn't approach, didn't speak, just sat there, watching. Lily noticed him immediately. Tall, leather, tattoos. She should have been scared. She wasn't. Mama said, don't talk to strangers, she called out. Ghost's lip twitched. Smart, Mama. Are you a bad guy? Depends who you ask. Lily thought of this. You want lemonade? Ghost swung off his bike, walked over. Up close, she could see his eyes. Not mean, sad, like Marcus when he thought no one was watching. How much? 50 cents. But you can pay more. It's for my brother. Ghost pulled out $100 euro. Lily's mouth dropped. That's too much. It's enough. He dropped it in the jar. Pour me a cup. She poured with shaking hands. Ghost sipped, made a face. That's sweet. Too much sugar. Way too much. My brother says the same thing. Ghost drank anyway. What's your name? Lily asked. People call me Ghost. Why, Wayne? Because I show up when people need me, disappear when they don't. Lily tilted her head. Like an angel, Ghost paused mid-sip. The question hit somewhere deep, somewhere locked. Something like that. Down the street, dirt bikes, getting closer. Ghost set down his cup. His posture shifted, relaxed to ready. Derek rounded the corner, saw the stand, grinned, then saw Ghost. The grin died. Ghost didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there, arms crossed. Derek slowed. Who's that? One of his friends whispered. Derek didn't answer. He'd seen those patches before. Everyone in Texas knew what they meant. Ghost removed his sunglasses, locked eyes with Derek. No words, none needed. Derek turned his bike. Let's go. What I thought we were gonna, I said, let's go. They rode away without looking back. Ghost picked up his cup, finished the too sweet lemonade. They won't bother you today. Lily stared at him. Will you come back tomorrow? Ghost walked to his bike, swung one leg over, started the engine. He looked at her one last time. Count on it. He rode away, thunder echoing down Maple Street. Lily watched until he disappeared, then looked at the $100 bill in her jar. She didn't know who Ghost was, didn't know about the 70 men who rode with him. But she knew one thing. Something had changed. That night, Marcus asked about the motorcycle. A biker came today, Lily said. Tall, scary looking, but he wasn't scary at all. What did he want? Bought lemonade, gave me $100. Marcus stared. 100 from a biker. He said people call him Ghost because he shows up when people need him. Lily paused. I asked if he was an angel. He didn't say no. Marcus wheeled to the window, looked at the empty street. Something stirred in his chest. Not hope, not yet, but the possibility of hope. Lily, his voice was quiet. Maybe we're not as alone as we thought. Time. Rusty's bar. Late. Ghost gave his report. The Lawson kid backed off soon as he saw me, but he'll be back. His type always comes back. Tombstone nodded. The girl. Ghost went quiet. She asked if I was an angel. The room went still. What did you tell her? Nothing. Ghost's jaw tightened, but she reminded me of someone. Everyone knew who. No one said her name. Tombstone stood, put a heavy hand on Ghost's shoulder. Tomorrow take 2 more with you. Let the town see we're watching. And when they come for her, Tombstone's eyes went cold. Then we teach this town what happens when you mock a child's dream. Day 8. 3 Harleys on Maple Street. Ghost in the middle. 2 brothers flanking him. They bought lemonade, left $300. Didn't say much, but their presence said everything. Neighbors watched from windows. Whispers spread. Who are they, Hell's Angels? What do they want with that little girl? Nobody had answers, but nobody messed with Lily that day, or the next, or the next. Day 11. Victoria Sterling had enough. She marched into the city planning office and slammed her hand on the counter. I want that stand shut down. Today. The clerk blinked. Ma'am, it's just a little girl selling. It's an unlicensed vendor operating in a residential zone. Health code violation. Safety hazard. I want an inspector there this afternoon. Mrs. Sterling, I really don't think. Do you know who my husband is? The clerk swallowed. An hour later, an inspector showed up on Maple Street. Lily was alone. Emma was at work. Marcus was on the porch. I'm sorry, sweetheart. The inspector looked miserable. Someone filed a complaint. I need to see your vendor permit. Lily frowned. What's a vendor permit? It's a license to sell things. I don't have one of those. The inspector sighed. Then I'm afraid I have to ask you to shut down. But this is for my brother's surgery. I know, and I'm sorry, but rules are rules. He pulled out a clipboard. If you continue operating without a permit, there's a $500 fine. Lily's face went white. $500. I don't make the rules, sweetheart. Marcus wheeled to the edge of the porch. She's 9 years old. She's trying to help me walk again. The inspector wouldn't meet his eyes. I'm sorry, I really am. He turned to leave. You have until to address embarrass. He walked away. Lily stared at her table, her jar, her sign, everything she'd built. Lily, Marcus's voice was tight. Lily, it's okay. We'll figure something out. Lily didn't answer. She picked up her jar, walked inside, closed the door. Nah. That night, Emma found the violation notice on the kitchen table. She read it 3 times. Then she put her head in her hands and cried, Mama! Emma looked up. Lily stood in the doorway, small, scared. I'm sorry, Mama. I didn't know I needed a permit. I didn't know. Baby, no. Emma opened her arms. Lily ran into them. This isn't your fault. But now we owe $500. We don't owe anything. You didn't do anything wrong. Then why does everyone want me to stop? Emma held her tighter. She didn't have an answer. I am. Day 12. Victoria Sterling posted again. Victory, the illegal lemonade stand on Maple Street has been reported and will be shut down. Let this be a lesson. Rules exist for a reason. We can't have just anyone setting up shop wherever they please. Standards matter. 107 likes, 32 comments, most of them congratulating her, but 3 were different. You shut down a little girl trying to save her brother. What's wrong with you? This is disgusting. She's 9. How do you sleep at night? Victoria deleted them. Day 13. Lily set up her stand anyway. She didn't have a permit. She knew the fine was coming. She didn't care. Lily, Marcus watched from the porch. You're going to get in trouble. I don't care. Mom said to wait. She said she'd figure something out. She's been figuring things out for 8 months. Lily straightened her sign. I'm done waiting. She stood there all morning. Nobody came. Not because they didn't want to, because they were afraid. Word had spread. Victoria Sterling had won. Anyone who bought lemonade was risking her wrath. In a small town, that meant something. Lily stood alone in the heat, watching cars pass, watching people avoid her eyes. By noon, she'd made $0, but she didn't move. At 2 o'clock, the dirt bikes came back. Derek Lawson, his friends, and someone new, Bradley Sterling, 17 years old, quarterback, Victoria's son. He was worse than Derek, crueler, smarter, untouchable. They circled the stand. Heard you got shut down, Bradley said. He had his phone out, recording. I'm still here. Not for long. He grinned at the camera. This is what happens to beggars in America. They get put in their place. I'm not a beggar. You're whatever I say you are. He nodded at Derek. Do it. Derek grabbed the table, flipped it. The pitcher shattered. Lemonade everywhere. The sign crumpled. Lily dove for the jar. Bradley kicked it from her hands. Coins scattered. Pick them up. Bradley laughed. Go on. Crawl for your pennies. Lily didn't move. I said pick them up. No. Bradley's smile flickered. What did you say? I said no. He stepped closer, towered over her. You think you can say no to me? Do you know who my father is? I don't care who your father is. Bradley grabbed her arm, squeezed. You should. Let go of me. Make me. From the porch, Marcus screamed, leave her alone. He tried to wheel down the ramp. The chair tilted. He fell, hit the ground hard, couldn't get up. Marcus, Lily tried to run to him. Bradley held her back. Look at that. He pointed his phone at Marcus. The cripple fell down. Can't even save his own sister. His friends laughed. Marcus lay in the dirt, helpless, humiliated. Lily's eyes filled with tears. But she didn't beg, didn't break. She looked Bradley dead in the eyes. You're going to regret this. Bradley laughed. Regret what? Who's going to make me, your crippled brother, your broke mom, your little jar of pennies? Someone. There's no one. Bradley shoved her to the ground. Learn your place, trash. He turned to leave. And then he heard it. They all heard it. Engines. Not one, not two, dozens. The ground shook. Lily looked up. Down the street, a wall of chrome. 70 motorcycles. 70 men. Hell's Angels. The pack rode slow, deliberate. The roar was deafening. Bradley's friends froze. What the hell? The bikes stopped. One by one, the riders dismounted. At the front, a man built like a mountain. Gray beard, cold eyes, tombstone. He walked toward the stand. Slow, heavy. Bradley tried to look tough. Who the hell are you? Tombstone didn't answer. He walked past Bradley like he wasn't there. Stopped in front of Lily, crouched down. You selling lemonade, little warrior? Lily's lip trembled. I was. They broke everything. Tombstone looked at the shattered pitcher, the scattered coins, the crumpled sign. Then he looked at Bradley. You do this? Bradley's voice cracked. She was breaking the law. No permit. I didn't ask about permits. Tombstone stood, all 6'4" of him. I asked if you did this. Bradley's friends were already backing away. It was a joke. A joke. Tombstone's voice was quiet, dangerous. You knocked down a 9-year-old girl, made her brother fall from his wheelchair, and you call it a joke. Look, old man. Old man Tombstone stepped closer. I've killed men in 3 countries, survived 4 IEDs, buried my daughter at 7 years old. His eyes were ice. And you think I'm scared of a teenager with a rich daddy? Bradley's face went white. Tombstone turned to his men. Pick up every coin, every single one. 70 bikers moved. In 60 seconds, every coin was back in the jar. One of them ghost helped Marcus back into his wheelchair. Brushed the dirt off his clothes. You okay, kid? Marcus nodded, speechless. Tombstone walked back to Lily. Got a new pitcher. In the house. Get it. Lily ran, came back with a fresh pitcher. Tombstone looked at his men. Line up, we're buying lemonade. 70 men formed a line, and the money started falling. 20s, 50s, hundreds. The jar overflowed. They brought out bowls, buckets, whatever they could find. Still the money came. Bradley and his friends stood frozen, watching. Tombstone walked over to them. Here's what's going to happen. His voice was low, just for them. You're going to apologize. Right now. On camera. My father will... Your father isn't here. Tombstone leaned in. But 70 of us are, and we don't forget faces. We don't forget names. We don't forget boys who hurt little girls. Bradley's phone hand shook. Apologize now. Bradley turned to Lily. His face was ash. I'm sorry. Louder. I'm sorry. Now get out. They ran. Tombstone watched them go, then turned back to Lily. She stood there surrounded by leather and chrome tears streaming down her face. She whispered. Why are you helping us? Tombstone crouched down again, his scarred hand gentle on her shoulder. Because I had a daughter once. She was brave. Like you. His voice cracked. Just barely. I couldn't save her, but I can save you. Lily threw her arms around him. Tombstone froze. Then slowly his arms came up. And the hardest man in Texas held a 9-year-old girl while 70 bikers stood guard. On the porch, Marcus watched through tears. Emma's car pulled up. She got a call from a neighbor. She stumbled out, saw the motorcycles, saw her children, saw the money. What is happening? Ghost walked over. Ma'am, he handed her an envelope. From the club, $15,000, more coming. Emma's legs gave out. She grabbed the porch rail. I don't understand. Your daughter's been fighting alone. Ghost's eyes were soft. She's not alone anymore. Emma looked at Lily still holding on to Tombstone, looked at Marcus surrounded by bikers who treated him like family, looked at the mountains of money in earthen bowls and buckets, and for the first time in 8 months, Emma Hartwell let herself hope. That night, Maple Street was quiet. The bikers were gone, but their presence lingered. Lily sat on her bed, the jar beside her pillow. She'd counted 3 times. $18,437 in one day. Marcus knocked on her door. Can't sleep either. Lily shook her head. He wheeled himself in, stopped beside her bed. Lily. Yeah. Thank you, Lily frowned. For what? For not giving up. His voice was thick. For making me promise not to leave, for fighting when I couldn't. Lily reached out, took his hand. That's what family does. Marcus squeezed her fingers. Yeah, he smiled, a real smile. That's what family does. Somewhere in the night, Tombstone stood at his daughter's grave. Sarah Grace Graves. He placed a single flower on the stone. Found someone who reminds me of you, he said quietly. She's got your fire, your heart. your stubborn streak. Wind rustled the trees. I couldn't save you, baby girl, but maybe I can save her. He kissed his fingers, pressed them to the stone. Sleep well, Sarah. Daddy's got work to do. He walked back to his bike, started the engine, and rode into the darkness. On Maple Street, Lily slept with the jar beside her pillow. $18,000. And somewhere in the night, 70 engines hummed. Not a threat, a promise. The girl who refused to break had found her army. The news spread through Cedar Hollow like wildfire. By morning, everyone had heard. 70 bikers, Hell's Angels, showed up on Maple Street to protect a little girl selling lemonade. Some people called it beautiful. Others called it terrifying. Victoria Sterling called it war. She stood in her kitchen at 6 a.m., phone pressed to her ear, voice shaking with rage. I don't care what it takes, Richard. I want those criminals gone. I want that stand gone. I want that entire family gone. Her husband sighed on the other end. Victoria, it's a little girl. It's an embarrassment. Our son apologized on camera. Do you understand what that looks like? The Sterlings humiliated by trailers, trash, and motorcycle thugs. Maybe Bradley shouldn't have. Don't you dare. Victoria's voice went ice cold. Don't you dare blame our son. He was trying to enforce the law. That stand was illegal. He did nothing wrong. Richard was quiet for a long moment. What do you want me to do? Use your connections. The mayor owes you. The police chief owes you. Half the city council owes you. Victoria's nails dug into her palm. Make this go away. She hung up before he could answer. In her bedroom upstairs, Bradley sat on his bed, staring at nothing. His hands still shook. He couldn't stop seeing Tombstone's eyes. The way 70 men had moved in unison. The way his friends had abandoned him. The way a 9-year-old girl had looked at him without fear. You're going to regret this, she'd said. He already did, but he'd never admit it. Emma woke up to 17 missed calls. She grabbed her phone, heart pounding. Something was wrong. Something had happened to the kids. The first voicemail was from her boss at the hospital. Emma, I don't know how to say this. Someone complained, said you were using work hours for personal business, that you were unreliable. I tried to fight it, but I'm sorry, we have to let you go. Emma's blood went cold. Second voicemail, the laundromat. Mrs. Hartwell, we've received some concerns about your employment. We're going to have to make a change. Please don't come in today. Third voicemail, the diner. Honey, I'm so sorry. Someone's been calling all morning, threatening to report us for health violations if we keep you on. My hands are tied. I'm sorry. 3 gyms, gone. In one night, Emma sat on the edge of her bed, phone clutched in her trembling hands. She knew who did this. Everyone in Cedar Hollow knew who did this. But knowing and proving were different things. And the Sterlings had been destroying people long before Emma Hartwell moved to town. Lily found her mother crying in the kitchen. Mama. Emma wiped her face fast, too fast. Morning, baby. Did you sleep okay? Mama, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong. You're crying. Emma looked at her daughter. 9 years old, already caring too much. She couldn't lie to her. I lost my job, sweetheart. Lily's face went pale. All of them. All of them. But why, Mama? Emma pulled Lily onto her lap, held her close. Because some people don't like it when others fight back. And yesterday we fought back. The bikers fought back. So now the Sterlings are trying to hurt us. That's not fair. No, baby, it's not. Lily was quiet, thinking. Mama, yeah, we have $18,000 now from yesterday. Emma closed her eyes. That money is for Marcus's surgery. I know, but maybe... No, Emma's voice was firm. That money doesn't get touched. Not for rent, not for food, not for anything except getting your brother walking again. We'll figure the rest out. How? Emma didn't have an answer. Marcus heard everything from the hallway. He wheeled himself back to his room, closed the door. 3 times. Gone. Because of him. Because Lily was trying to save him. Because he'd been stupid enough to ride his bike without looking. He pulled out the letter from under his pillow. Read it again. Then crumpled it up and threw it in the trash. Not because he felt better, because destroying himself wouldn't help his family. And right now, they needed him to be strong, even if he didn't feel strong at all. Yeah. At Rusty's bar, Tombstone got the news from Whisper. All 3 jobs, cut this morning. Word as Richard Sterling made some calls. Tombstone's jaw tightened. They're going after the mother now. Going after the whole family. Trying to squeeze them out. Diesel slammed his fist on the table. We should pay Sterling a visit. Let him know what happens when... No. Tombstone's voice was calm, controlled. That's what they want. They want us to make a move they can use against us. Give them a reason to bring in the cops, call us criminals, make us the villains. So we just let them destroy that family. I didn't say that. Tombstone stood. Whisper. Find out everything about Richard Sterling's business. Every deal, every partner, every skeleton. That could take time. Then start now. Tombstone grabbed his jacket. Ghost, you're with me. We're going to Maple Street. What's the plan? Tombstone headed for the door. We're going to let that little girl know she's not alone. And then we're going to show this town what real power looks like. Lily was sitting on the porch when the motorcycles appeared. 2 this time, Ghost and Tombstone. She didn't run to greet them, just sat there, knees pulled to her chest. Tombstone parked, walked over slow. Hey, little warrior, you okay? Lily shook her head. What happened? They fired my mom. Her voice was small. All 3 miles because of yesterday. Tombstone crouched down. His scarred face was gentle. That's not because of yesterday. That's because of people who think money makes them hums. What's the difference? The difference is yesterday you won. You stood up to bullies and you won. What they're doing now, that's them being scared. Scared people do ugly things. Lily looked at him. Are you ever scared? Tombstone was quiet for a moment. Every day. You don't look scared. That's because I learned something a long time ago. He sat down beside her on the porch steps. Fear's not the enemy. Quitting is. You can be scared and still fight. You can be terrified and still win. The only way to really lose is to stop trying. Lily thought about this. My mom says the money is only for Marcus's surgery, but now we can't pay rent or buy food. How much is rent? I don't know, but Mom cries about it a lot. Tombstone nodded slowly. What if I told you that you don't have to worry about rent anymore? Lily frowned. What do you mean? I mean the club's going to take care of it, not from Marcus's surgery fund, from us, every month until your mom gets back on her feet. Why would you do that? Because that's what family does. Lily stared at him. But we're not your family. Yeah, Tombstone's voice was rough. You are. Emma came out to find a biker sitting on her porch with her daughter. Her first instinct was fear. Her second was something else. Mrs. Hartwell. Tombstone stood. We need to talk. About what? About how we were going to help you. Emma's walls went up. I don't need charity. This isn't charity. Tombstone's voice was patient. This is war. And in war, soldiers take care of each other's families. I'm not a soldier. No, but your husband was. Emma froze. Daniel Hartwell, sergeant. 2 tours in Afghanistan, Purple Heart, Bronze Star. Tombstone's eyes were steady. He was one of us. Different uniforms, same brotherhood. So his family is our family. That's not charity, ma'am. That's honor. Emma's eyes filled with tears. How did you know about Daniel? We know about everyone we protect. Tombstone pulled out an envelope. This is for rent, 3 months' worth. There's more where that came from. I can't take... Yes, you can. His voice was firm, but kind. Your daughter's been fighting alone for too long. So have you. Let us help. Emma looked at the envelope, then at Lily, then at the man who looked like he could kill without blinking, but spoke about her dead husband like he was a brother. She took the envelope. Thank you. Tombstone nodded. Now we need to talk about the Sterlings. So they sat in the kitchen. Emma, Tombstone, Ghost, Lily, Marcus. They're going to keep coming, Tombstone said. People like the Sterlings don't stop. They don't know how. You embarrass them and they'll burn down the whole town before they let that stand. What can we do? Emma asked. You don't have to do anything. We'll handle it. How? Tombstone glanced at Ghost, then back at Emma. We're going to expose them. Expose them how? Richard Sterling didn't get rich by being honest. He got rich by stepping on people, taking shortcuts, bending rules, breaking laws. Tombstone leaned forward. My guy whispers digging right now. When he finds something and we go public. That could take weeks, months. It might, but in the meantime, we keep you safe, keep the money coming for Marcus, keep the pressure up. Emma was quiet for a long moment. Why are you doing this, really? Tombstone's jaw tightened. Because 15 years ago, I watched my daughter die. 7 years old, leukemia. His voice was rough. I couldn't save her, no amount of money, no amount of prayers. So I made a promise I would protect every child I could. He looked at Lily, then at Marcus. Your kids aren't mine, I know that. But when I see them fight, when I see them refuse to break, I see her, I see Sarah. And I'm not going to let the world crush them the way it crushed me. Emma reached across the table and took his hand. Thank you. Tombstone looked down at their hands. When he looked up, his eyes were wet. Don't thank me yet. We've got a long fight ahead. Victoria Sterling was not used to waiting. She'd made 30 phone calls in 3 days to the mayor, the police chief, the health department, and the county commissioner. Everyone promised to help. Nothing happened. They're scared, Richard said at dinner that night. Those bikers have a reputation. Nobody wants to be the one to poke the bear. Then we need to bring in someone who's not scared. Victoria stabbed at her salad. What about state police, FBI? For what? They bought lemonade. That's not a crime. They intimidated our son. Our son was trespassing and assaulting a minor. Richard's voice was tired. I've seen the video, Victoria. Everyone's seen the video. Bradley dumped her money, knocked her down, made her brother fall out of his wheelchair. If anyone should be pressing charges, it's them. Victoria's eyes went cold. Whose side are you on? I'm on the side of not destroying our lives over a lemonade stand. This isn't about the lemonade stand. This is about power, about respect, about making sure people know their place. Richard set down his fork. And where is their place, Victoria, in the dirt begging for scraps? Yes. Richard stared at his wife. For the first time in 23 years of marriage, he didn't recognize her. I think I need some air. He left the table, left the house, drove for an hour not knowing where he was going. When he stopped, he was parked outside a small blue house on Maple Street. He sat in his car watching. A light was on in the kitchen. Through the window, he could see a woman, Emma Hartwell, sitting at a table with her children. Laughing. They were laughing. After everything his wife had done to them, they were laughing. Richard Sterling sat in the dark for a long time. Then he drove home. But something had shifted. Something he couldn't name. Day 3 after the bikers came, Lily set up her stand again. Not because she needed the money, Tombstone had made sure of that, but because she refused to hide. Ghost was there, 2 other riders with him. They bought lemonade, talked to neighbors, made their presence known. And slowly people started coming back. Mrs. Patterson was first. I knew they couldn't keep you down, sweetheart. Then the truck driver from before. Saw what happened on the news, came back to see if you were okay. Then strangers, people from 2 towns over, 3 towns, 4. They'd seen the video, not the one Bradley posted that had been taken down. The other one, the one someone had filmed of 70 bikers lining up to buy lemonade from a 9-year-old girl. It had 2 million views. Is this the famous lemonade stand? A woman asked, tears in her eyes. I drove 3 hours to see it. Yes, ma'am. Lily poured her a cup. 50 cents. The woman gave her $100. Keep it, honey. For your brother. By the end of the day, Lily had made $4,000. And the jar wasn't just holding money anymore. It was holding hope. Day 5. A news van pulled up. Local station, a reporter named Jennifer Walsh, young and hungry, looking for her big break. I want to do a story, she told Emma, about Lily, about what the town's been doing to her, about the bikers who showed up. Emma hesitated. I don't want my kids turned into a circus. It won't be like that. I promise, Basoy. Jennifer's eyes were earnest. People need to see this. They need to know that a little girl stood up to bullies and won. That's important. Emma looked at Lily. What do you think, baby? Lily considered. Will it help other kids like Marcus? Jennifer nodded. It might. Stories like yours can change things. Lily looked at her mother. Then let's do it. The interview aired that night. Jennifer didn't sugarcoat anything. She talked about the bullying, the destruction of the stand, Victoria Sterling's complaint, the 3 jobs Emma lost overnight, and she talked about the bikers. They showed up when no one else would, Lily said on camera. Everyone was scared, but they weren't scared. Were you afraid of them? Jennifer asked. Lily shook her head. They're not scary. They're angels, just different looking ones. The clip went viral. 3 million views by midnight, 5 million by morning. Phone calls flooded the station. Donations flooded in. The story got picked up by national news, and Victoria Sterling watched it all with murder in her eyes. This is a disaster. Victoria paced her living room. Richard sat on the couch, not meeting her eyes. Everyone's talking about that little brat like she's some kind of hero. Meanwhile, our son looks like a monster. We look like monsters. Maybe because... Don't. Victoria's voice was ice. Don't you dare say what I think you're going to say. Richard stood up. I went there, Victoria, the other night. I parked outside their house and watched them through the window. You did what? They were laughing. After everything we did to them, they were sitting around their kitchen table laughing. Richard's voice broke. When was the last time we did that? When was the last time our family laughed together? Victoria's face twisted. What's your point? My point is, maybe they are not the problem. Maybe we are. Silence. Heavy, dangerous. Get out, Victoria said. What? Get out of this house, now. Richard stared at her. Victoria. I said get out. He grabbed his keys, walked to the door, stopped. I'm going to fix this, he said quietly. The right way. He left. Victoria stood alone in her perfect living room with her perfect furniture and her perfect rage. She picked up her phone, made one more call. The next morning, 2 police cars pulled up to Maple Street. Officer Davis stepped out. He'd been on the force for 12 years. Didn't like the Sterlings, didn't like this assignment. But orders were orders. Mrs. Hartwell, he approached Emma on the porch. I'm sorry, ma'am, we've received a complaint. What kind of complaint? Child endangerment. There's been an allegation that you've been using your children to solicit money fraudulently. Emma's face went white. That's insane. I know, ma'am, but we're required to investigate. Social services will be here within the hour. Social service, it's procedure. I'm sorry, I really am. Emma grabbed the porch rail to keep from collapsing. They weren't just trying to shut down the stand anymore. They were trying to take her children. Lily saw the police cars from her bedroom window. She ran downstairs. Mama, what's happening? Go back upstairs, baby. But, Lily, please. Emma's voice cracked. Just go upstairs with Marcus. Lock the door. Don't come out until I say. Lily's eyes went wide. Are they going to arrest us? No, baby. No one's getting arrested. Emma pulled her close. But some people are trying to hurt us again. I need you to be brave. Can you do that? Lily nodded. Good girl. Now go. Lily ran upstairs, grabbed Marcus, told him everything. They can't take us, Marcus said. They can't. What do we do? Marcus thought for a moment. Then he grabbed his phone. Ghost gave me his number. Said to call if we ever needed help. Call him. Marcus dialed in. Ghost answered on the second ring. Marcus, what's wrong? Police are here. They're talking about social services. Someone said Mom's endangering us. Silence. Then stay inside. Don't talk to anyone. We're on our way. The line went dead. Marcus looked at Lily. They're coming. 20 minutes later, the thunder started. Emma was still on the porch arguing with social services when she heard it. A low rumble building growing. Officer Davis heard it too. His hand moved to his radio. What the hell is that? The answer came over the hill. Motorcycles, not 70 this time. More. Emma counted them as they rolled down Maple Street. 50, 70, 100. 150. Bikers from every chapter in Texas, maybe beyond. Word had spread. The little girl with the lemonade stand was in trouble, and the Brotherhood had answered. They filled the street, filled the yards, surrounded the house in a wall of leather and chrome. Tombstone dismounted and walked to the porch. "Mrs. Hartwell, you okay?" Emma couldn't speak. She just shook her head. Tombstone turned to Officer Davis. "What's going on here?" Davis swallowed hard. "Sir, this is a police matter. I'm going to have to ask you to, I asked what's going on. There's been a complaint. Allegations of child endangerment." "From who?" Davis hesitated. "I'm not at liberty to say." "Victoria Sterling." Tombstone's voice was flat. "It was Victoria Sterling." "I can't confirm." "You don't have to." Tombstone stepped closer. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to get back in your car. You're going to enter the drive back to the station, and you're going to tell whoever sent you that this family is under our protection." "Sir, I have a legal obligation." "Your legal obligation is to protect and serve, so serve this." Tombstone's eyes were ice. "There is no child endangerment here. There's a mother working herself to death for her kids. There's a little girl fighting to save her brother. And there's a sick boy who needs surgery, not social services." Davis looked at the 150 bikers surrounding him, looked at Emma, tears streaming down her face, looked at the windows upstairs where two children watched with terrified eyes. He made a decision. "Let's go," he said to his partner. "This was a mistake, but the complaint was garbage, and we're not doing the Sterling's dirty work anymore." They got in their cars and drove away. Emma's legs gave out. Tombstone caught her before she hit the ground. "Easy, easy. It's over." "They tried to take my children." Her voice was ragged. "They tried to." "I know, but they didn't. They won't." "How can you be sure?" Tombstone helped her to her feet. "Because from now on, there's always going to be someone here, day and night, watching, protecting." He turned to the assembled riders. These men came from all over Texas, some from Louisiana, Oklahoma, New Mexico. They don't know your kids, but they know what's right, and they're not leaving until this is over. Emma looked at the sea of leather. Why would strangers do this? A rider stepped forward, older guy, gray hair, missing 2 fingers on his left hand. "Because 40 years ago, I was Marcus." His voice was rough. "Got hit by a drunk driver when I was 12. Spent 2 years in a wheelchair. My dad worked 3 jobs to pay for my surgery. Nobody helped us. Nobody." He swallowed hard. "I walked today because my dad killed himself working. Heart attack at 45. I always swore if I ever had a chance to help a family like mine, I would." Another rider stepped up. Woman this time, full sleeve tattoos, hard eyes, soft voice. "I was Lily once. Set up a stand to raise money for my mom's cancer treatment. Got shut down by the city. My mom died 3 months later. She wiped her eyes. I couldn't save her, but I can help save Marcus." One by one, riders shared their stories. Fathers who'd lost children, mothers who'd lost jobs, brothers who'd lost hope, all of them broken by a world that didn't care, all of them choosing to care now. Emma listened until she couldn't anymore. Then she went upstairs, unlocked the door, and held her children until the sun went down. That night, Whisper called Tombstone with news. "Found something. Something big. Talk." Richard Sterling's company has been bribing city officials for years. Rigged bids, fake permits, zoning violations. It's all documented. I've got emails, bank records, everything. Tombstone smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "How bad?" "Bad enough for federal charges. Bad enough to take down half the city council." "Can we prove it?" "We can prove all of it. Then we go public, tomorrow." "You sure this is going to blow up the whole town?" Tombstone looked out at Maple Street, where 150 bikers stood guard over a sleeping family. "Good. Some things need to burn before they can grow." Richard Sterling sat alone in a hotel room. His wife had kicked him out. His son wouldn't take his calls. His business partners were distancing themselves. And somewhere deep down, he knew he deserved all of it. His phone rang, unknown number. He answered. "Mr. Sterling, This is Jennifer Walsh, Channel 7 News. We've received some documents about your company's dealings with the city. I'd like to give you a chance to comment before we air the story. Richard's blood went cold. What documents? Emails, bank records, evidence of bribery, bid rigging, fraud. It's comprehensive, Mr. Sterling. Very comprehensive. Richard closed his eyes. When? Tomorrow night. The story airs at 6. Can we talk off the record? Silence. I'm at the Marriott downtown, room 412. I'll wait. He hung up, sat in the dark. And finally, for the first time in 30 years, Richard Sterling asked himself who he really was. The next morning, Lily woke up to find 15 motorcycles parked in her yard. She went downstairs, found Tombstone at the kitchen table with her mother drinking coffee. Morning, little warrior. Morning. She rubbed her eyes. Are all those people staying as long as they need to? Lily poured herself some juice. What happens now? Now we wait. For what? Tombstone and Emma exchanged a look. For the truth to come out. Lily didn't understand, but she trusted him. Okay. She grabbed her jar from the counter. Can I set up my stand again? Tombstone smiled. Kid, you can do whatever you want. You've got an army behind you. Lily headed for the door, then stopped. Mr. Tombstone? Yeah. My dad would have liked you. Tombstone's throat tightened. I would have liked him too. Lily smiled and walked outside to set up her stand. Yeah. At 6 p.m. the story aired. Jennifer Walsh delivered it with surgical precision. Every bribe, every lie, every dollar. Richard Sterling's face was everywhere. Victoria Sterling's face was everywhere. Bradley Sterling's face was everywhere. And by 7 p.m. the FBI had announced an investigation. By 8, 3 city council members had resigned. By 9, the Sterling family empire was crumbling. By 10, Victoria Sterling stood alone in her perfect living room, watching her perfect life burn. Her phone was ringing. She didn't answer. Downstairs, she heard her husband come in, heard him walk to his study, heard the door close. She didn't go to him. She stared at the TV screen where a 9-year-old girl smiled and waved at cameras. And Victoria Sterling felt something she'd never felt before. Fear. Real fear. Not of bikers, not of investigations, but of a little girl who refused to break. On Maple Street, Lily watched the news with her family. She didn't understand all of it, but she understood enough. The bad people are in trouble. Yes, baby, Emma hugged her close. The bad people are in trouble. Because of us. Because of you. Emma kissed her forehead. You started this. You stood up when everyone told you to sit down. And look what happened. Lily looked at the TV, at the bikers outside, at her brother smiling for the first time in months. I just wanted Marcus to walk again. I know, Emma's voice broke. And he will. Because of you, he will. Marcus wheeled himself over, took his sister's hand. Lily saw him. Yeah, I love you. I love you too. And when I can walk again, the first thing I'm going to do is help you make lemonade. Real lemonade. Not that sugar water you've been selling. Lily laughed. The first real laugh in weeks. Deal. A time. Outside, Tombstone watched the celebration through the window. Ghost walked up beside him. You did good, boss. We did good, all of us. What happens now? Tombstone was quiet for a long moment. Now we finish it. Sterling's empire is falling, but Victoria won't stop. Not yet. She's got too much pride. You think she'll try something? I know she will. Tombstone's eyes went hard. And when she does, we'll be ready. He looked up at the night sky. Sarah, he whispered, I hope you're watching, baby. Your old man's finally doing something right. The wind stirred the trees. And somewhere in the darkness, the sound of Harleys kept watch over a family that would never be alone again. Victoria Sterling didn't sleep that night. She sat in her darkened living room, phone in hand, watching her life collapse one notification at a time. The FBI investigation, the resignations, the news vans parked outside her gate, and everywhere that little girl's face, smiling, waving, winning. At 3 a.m., Victoria made a decision. If she was going down, she was taking everyone with her. She scrolled through her contacts, found a name she hadn't called in 15 years. A man who solved problems that couldn't be solved legally. She pressed dial. It's been a long time, Victoria. I need your help. Must be serious. You swore you'd never call again. It is. There's a family on Maple Street. The Hartwells. I need them gone. Silence on the other end. Gone how? Victoria's voice was ice. I don't care how. Just make them disappear from this town. Tonight. There are bikers protecting them, Hell's Angels. I know. That's going to cost extra. Money isn't an issue. More silence. Then, give me 2 hours. Victoria hung up. She walked to the window and stared out at the darkness. By morning, the Hartwells would be nothing but a memory, and Victoria Sterling would have her revenge. Tombstone's phone buzzed at 3:47 a.m. He grabbed it. Whisper's number. Talk. We've got a problem. Victoria Sterling just made a call. Burner phone, but I've got contacts at the phone company. The number she called belongs to a guy named Marcus Webb. Tombstone's blood went cold. Webb, you sure? Positive, you know him. Know him. Tombstone's jaw tightened. He's a fixer. Worked for the cartels back in the day. Does dirty work for rich people who want to keep their hands clean. What kind of dirty work? The kind that ends with people in shallow graves. Silence. Boss, if Webb's involved, get everyone up, now, every rider we have. I want them on Maple Street in 20 minutes. What about the family? Tombstone was already pulling on his boots. I'm going to warn them myself. Emma woke to pounding on her door. She grabbed the baseball bat she kept under her bed and crept downstairs. The clock read 4:15 a.m. Who's there? It's Tombstone. Open up, now. She unlocked the door. Tombstone pushed inside Ghost right behind him. What's happening? Victoria Sterling hired someone, a professional. He's coming tonight. Emma's face went white. Coming to do what? I don't know exactly, but nothing good. Tombstone grabbed her shoulders. You need to wake the kids. Pack a bag. You're leaving. Leaving where? Somewhere safe. We've got a place outside of town. No one knows about it. I'm not running. Emma's voice hardened. I've been running my whole life. From bills, from problems, from everything. I'm done running. Emma, this isn't about pride. This is about keeping your children alive. Then we fight. Together. Tombstone stared at her, saw the steel in her eyes. You remind me of someone. Who? My wife, before she left me. A ghost of a smile. She was stubborn as hell, too. Did she survive? She's still alive, if that's what you mean. But our marriage didn't survive me choosing the club over her. Tombstone's voice was heavy. I'm not gonna let you make my mistakes. Your kids need you alive. Emma looked toward the stairs, thought of Lily, Marcus, everything they'd been through. Fine, but I'm not going far, and the second it's safe, I'm coming back. Deal. Lily woke up confused. Her mother was shoving clothes into a bag, moving fast, not explaining. Mama, what's going on? We're going somewhere safe, baby. Just for a little while. Why did something happen? Emma stopped, knelt down, took Lily's hands. Remember what I said about the Sterlings? About how scared people do ugly things? Lily nodded. Well, they're about to do something really ugly, and I need to make sure you and Marcus are safe. Are the bikers coming with us? Some of them. The rest are going to I need to hear them and handle things. Lily's eyes went wide. Is there going to be a fight? Emma hesitated. I hope not, baby. I really hope not. So, Marcus was already awake when they came to his room. I heard everything, he said. Through the vent. Then you know we have to go. Marcus shook his head. I'm not leaving. Marcus, no, Mom, listen to me. His voice was stronger than Emma had heard in months. This whole thing started because of me. Because I needed surgery. Because Lily was trying to save me. If anyone should face what's coming, it's me, Mom. You're 11 years old, I'm the reason we're in this mess. No, when Lily stepped forward. You're not. Victoria Sterling is the reason. Derek Lawson is the reason. Mean people are the reason, not you. Lily, I didn't sell lemonade because you're a burden. I sold it because you're my brother, and I'd do it again, 1,000,000 times. Her eyes filled with tears. So don't you dare say this is your fault. Don't you ever. Marcus stared at his sister. Then he started crying. Not the quiet, shameful tears he'd been hiding for months. Real crying. The kind that shakes your whole body. Lily climbed onto his bed and held him. "It's okay," she whispered. "We're going to be okay." Emma watched her children, both broken, both healing, and felt her heart crack and mend at the same time. By 5 a.m., the family was in a van heading out of town. Ghost drove. 2 other riders followed on their bikes. Emma sat in back with the kids. Marcus had finally stopped crying. Lily had fallen asleep against his shoulder. "How far?" Emma asked. "About 30 miles, old farmhouse. Been abandoned for years, but we keep it maintained. Safe house. How long do we have to stay?" "Until this is over." "And how long will that be?" Ghost was quiet for a moment. "I don't know. Depends on what Webb does and what Tombstone does about it." "What will Tombstone do?" Ghost's hands tightened on the wheel. "Whatever it takes." Back on Maple Street, Tombstone had 50 riders positioned around the block. They weren't just bikers anymore. They were soldiers. Webb usually works with a crew of 4 or 5, Tombstone told Diesel. He likes to hit fast and quiet. No witnesses. "What's our play?" "We wait. Let them come to us. The house is empty. They'll figure that out quick. When they try to leave, we block them in. And then," Tombstone's eyes were cold, "we have a conversation. What if they're not interested in talking? Then we make them interested." Oh. Marcus Webb arrived at Maple Street at 5:30. He was 52 years old, lean gray-haired, with the kind of face that disappeared in a crowd. That was his gift. Nobody remembered him. He'd brought 4 men, all professionals, all armed. "That's a lot of motorcycles," one of his men said. "I know." "You sure about this?" Webb pulled out a cigarette, lit it, took a long drag. "Victoria Sterling is paying me $200,000. For that money, I'd walk through an army. Those aren't just any bikers, boss. Those are Hell's Angels." "I'm aware. They've killed people. Lots of people." Webb smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "So have I." They moved toward the house in the darkness. Silent, professional, weapons ready. The front door was unlocked. Webb found that interesting. He pushed it open, stepped inside. Empty. "They're gone," one of his men whispered. "Obviously." Webb walked through the kitchen, saw the half-packed bags, the signs of a rushed departure. Someone warned them. "What do we do?" "We leave. Come back another—" The roar of engines cut him off. Webb ran to the window. Motorcycles were closing in from every direction, headlights blazing, a wall of chrome and steel. "We're surrounded." Webb's jaw tightened. He'd been in bad situations before. This was worse than most. "Back door, move." They ran. The back door led to a small yard, a fence. Beyond the fence, an alley. Freedom. Webb was halfway across the yard when a figure stepped out of the shadows. Tombstone. Going somewhere, Webb stopped. His men fanned out behind him. "We don't have a problem," Webb said. "We were just leaving." "You came to hurt a family, women and children. That's a problem. I was hired to deliver a message, that's all." "What kind of message requires 4 armed men at 5 in the morning?" Webb didn't answer. Tombstone stepped closer. "Here's the thing, Webb. I know who you are. I know what you do. And normally I'd say that's none of my business. People like you clean up messes for people like Sterling. That's the way the world works. So let us walk." "I can't do that." Tombstone's voice hardened. "Because those people you came to threaten, that's my family. And nobody threatens my family." Webb's hand moved toward his weapon. 50 riders emerged from the darkness, surrounding them completely. "I wouldn't," Tombstone said. Webb looked at the bikers, counted the odds, made a calculation. "What do you want?" "I want you to deliver a message, a real one, to Victoria Sterling." "What message?" Tombstone stepped so close Webb could smell the leather. "Tell her it's over. Tell her if she sends anyone else, anyone at all, they won't leave this town alive. Tell her if she tries to hurt these children again, I will personally burn her world to the ground. And tell her," Tombstone's voice dropped to a whisper, "tell her I know about San Antonio." Webb's face changed, just a flicker, but Tombstone caught it. "Yeah, I know. 1987. That business with her first husband, the one who disappeared. You think that secret is buried, but secrets have a way of rising up. Webb swallowed. She won't like this. I don't care what she likes. I care about what she does. Tombstone stepped back. Now get out of my town and don't come back. Webb and his men left without another word. Victoria Sterling got the call at 6:15. It's done. No, Webb's voice was flat. It's not done, and it's never going to be done. What are you talking about? I'm talking about 50 bikers surrounding my crew. I'm talking about a man who knows things about you that should have stayed buried. Victoria's blood went cold. What things? San Antonio, 1987. Silence. That's impossible. No one knows about that. Someone does, and he's going to use it if you don't stop. Victoria's hands shook. The phone almost slipped from her grip. What do I do? You stop. You leave that family alone. You forget they exist. I can't just, yes you can, and you will, because the alternative is prison, or worse. Webb paused. I'm returning your money. This contract is done. Don't call me again. The line went dead. Victoria sat in the darkness, her perfect world crumbling around her. San Antonio. She hadn't thought about that night in decades. The night her first husband had threatened to expose her affair. The night she'd made a phone call. The night he'd vanished. She'd been so careful, covered every track, paid every price, and still somehow it had found her. Richard Sterling returned home at 7 a.m. He found his wife sitting in the dark, staring at nothing. Victoria. No response. He turned on the light, saw her face pale, hollow, haunted. What happened? It's over. Her voice was barely a whisper. Everything. It's all over. What are you talking about? San Antonio. He knows about San Antonio. Richard frowned. What about San Antonio? Victoria finally looked at him, and in that moment Richard saw something he'd never seen before. Fear. Pure, absolute fear. My first husband, Thomas. You remember him? You said he left, went to Mexico, never came back. He didn't leave. Victoria's voice cracked. I made him disappear. Richard felt the room tilt. What? He was going to ruin me, expose everything, so I called someone, and Thomas went away. She laughed a horrible, broken sound. 23 years. I've been carrying this for 23 years, and now some biker knows. Richard backed away from his wife. Victoria, are you telling me I did what I had to do? She was screaming now. I did what anyone would do. He was going to destroy me. Richard stared at the woman he'd married, the woman he'd built an empire with, the woman he thought he knew. He didn't know her at all. I'm going to the police, he said. What? The FBI is already investigating our company. If I cooperate, if I tell them everything, maybe I can salvage something. Maybe Bradley won't have to spend his life in prison because of us. You would betray me. You betrayed yourself. Richard's voice was quiet. You betrayed all of us. The moment you decided that little girl was your enemy, you lost. I was just too blind to see it. He walked toward the door. Where are you going? To do the right thing, for the first time in my life. Victoria watched him leave, and then she screamed. Ma. Emma got the call from Tombstone at 8 a.m. It's over. What do you mean? Webb's gone, Victoria's backing down, and Richard Sterling just walked into the FBI field office with a box full of documents. Emma's legs went weak. He turned himself in. He turned everyone in, his wife, his business partners, half the city council. It's going to be the biggest corruption case this state has seen in decades. And Victoria, she's not going to be a problem anymore. Ever. Emma closed her eyes. Tears streamed down her face. Can we come home? You can come home. The drive back to Maple Street was quiet. Lily was awake now, watching the Texas landscape roll past. Is it really over? She asked. It's really over. Emma reached back and squeezed her hand. We're safe. What happens to the mean lady? She's going to face consequences for everything she did. Lily was quiet for a moment. Good, Marcus laughed. It surprised everyone, including himself. What's so funny? Lily demanded. Nothing, it's just… He shook his head. I never thought I'd hear you say something like that. Like what? Something hard, something grown up. Lily shrugged. I grew up a lot this week. Emma's throat tightened. She had. They all had. Dishem. Maple Street looked different in the morning light. The motorcycles were still there, but the tension was gone. Bikers lounged on porches drinking coffee, laughing like old friends. When the van pulled up, Tombstone was waiting. Lily jumped out first, ran straight to him. Is it true? Is it really over? Tombstone crouched down. It's really over, little warrior. We won, you won. He smiled a rare, genuine smile. You started this fight and you won it. Lily threw her arms around him. Tombstone held on tight. Over her shoulder, he saw Emma helping Marcus out of the van. The boy was smiling too. Actually smiling. Tombstone, Lily's voice was muffled against his leather. Yeah. Thank you for everything. You don't have to thank me. Yes, I do. She pulled back, looking him in the eyes. You saved us. When nobody else would, you saved us. Tombstone's eyes glistened. You saved yourself, kid. I just showed up. That afternoon, Jennifer Walsh returned with her camera crew. But this time the story was different. Victoria Sterling has been arrested on suspicion of fraud, bribery, and conspiracy. Federal prosecutors are also investigating her connection to a 1987 disappearance in San Antonio. Her husband, Richard Sterling, has agreed to cooperate fully with authorities. Emma watched the broadcast with her children. Is she going to jail? Marcus asked. Probably, Ali, Emma said, for a long time. What about Bradley? Emma hesitated. I don't know. I hope he's okay. Lily's voice was quiet. I mean, I don't like him, but he's still just a kid, like us. Emma pulled her daughter close. You have a good heart, baby. Is that bad? No, it's the best thing about you. Bradley Sterling was in his room when the police came. He heard the doorbell, heard his mother screaming, heard the words, under arrest. He didn't move, couldn't move. His whole life he'd been told he was special, better, above everyone else. And now his mother was being led away in handcuffs. His father was cooperating with the FBI. His family name was Poison, and all because he dumped a little girl's lemonade money in the dirt. Bradley picked up his phone, scrolled to the video he'd taken of Lily, the one he'd planned to post to humiliate her. He deleted it. Then he deleted everything else. Every cruel post, every mocking comment, every piece of evidence that he'd ever been the person he was last week. It didn't change anything, but it felt like a start. 3 days later, the money was counted. Emma, Lily, Marcus, and Tombstone sat around the kitchen table staring at the final number, $67,412. That's… Emma couldn't finish the sentence. That's more than enough, Tombstone said. Surgery's $45,000. The rest goes to recovery, physical therapy, whatever Marcus needs. Marcus stared at the number. His hands trembled. I'm going to walk again. Yeah, kid, Tombstone's voice was rough. You are. Lily grabbed her brother's hand. Told you. Told me what? That I'd sell lemonade until you could walk, and I did. Marcus laughed, cried, both at the same time. You're crazy, you know that. I know. Lily grinned. But I'm your crazy. Shem. Emma called the hospital that afternoon. I'd like to schedule a surgery for my son Marcus Hartwell. Of course, Mrs. Hartwell. Let me check our availability. A pause, the sound of typing. We have an opening in 2 weeks. Does that work? Emma's voice broke. That works perfectly. She hung up, stood in the kitchen, let herself cry. 2 weeks. After 8 months of struggling, fighting, praying, 2 weeks until her son might walk again. It didn't feel real. That night, Tombstone gathered the riders for one last meeting on Maple Street. The job's done, he said. The family's safe. Sterling's going down. And Marcus is getting his surgery. The men cheered. Engines revved in celebration. But I want you all to know something. Tombstone's voice grew serious. This isn't just about one family. This is about what we stand for, what the Guardian Angel program means. He looked at Ghost, Diesel, Whisper. All of them. 15 years ago, I lost my daughter. Sarah was 7 years old when she died. And I swore on her grave that I would protect children who couldn't protect themselves, that I would be the father they needed even if I couldn't be the father she deserved. His voice cracked. This week we kept that promise. We stood up for a little girl when nobody else would. We showed this town, this state, that there are still people who fight for what's right. He raised his fist. That's who we are. That's what we do. And that's why we ride. 70 fists raised in response. For Sarah, someone shouted. For Sarah, the others echoed. And in the darkness, Tombstone felt something he hadn't felt in 15 years. Peace. Later that night, Emma found Tombstone sitting alone on the porch. She sat down beside him. Didn't speak. After a long silence, Tombstone said, I used to sit like this with Sarah, on our porch back in Austin. She'd fall asleep against my shoulder, and I'd just sit there watching the stars. Emma listened. When she got sick, I promised God I'd do anything, give anything, trade my life for hers, but God doesn't make trades. His voice was heavy. She died in my arms, 7 years old, and I didn't pray again for 3 years. What made you start again? A kid. First one I helped through the Guardian Angel program. 8-year-old boy being beaten by his stepdad. We showed up at the house, scared the hell out of the guy, got the kid to safety. Tombstone's eyes were distant. That night the boy looked at me and said, Are you an angel? And something broke inside me. Or maybe it healed, I still don't know which. Emma reached over and took his hand. Sarah would be proud of you. You think so? I know so. Emma squeezed his fingers. A father who turns his grief into protection for other children. That's not weakness. That's strength. Tombstone looked at her. You're stronger than you know, Emma. I had help. Yeah, he almost smiled. We all need help sometimes. They sat in silence watching the stars. And for the first time since Daniel died, Emma felt like maybe, just maybe, the universe wasn't entirely cruel after all. 2 days before surgery, Marcus asked to see Tombstone. I want to say thank you, Marcus said properly. You don't have to. Yes, I do. Marcus gripped the arms of his wheelchair. 8 months ago, I wanted to die. I thought everything was my fault. Dad's death, Mom's suffering, Lily's pain. I thought the world would be better without me. Tombstone listened, didn't interrupt. But then Lily set up that stupid lemonade stand, and you showed up, and I realized, Marcus's voice cracked. I realized I wasn't a burden. I was a reason for my sister to fight, a reason for my mom to keep going, a reason for strangers to become family. Tombstone crouched down, eye level. Kid, you are not your accident. You are not your wheelchair. You are not your father's sacrifice. His voice was fierce. You are Marcus Hartwell. You are a survivor. And in 2 days, you're going to walk into that hospital as one person and walk out as another. What if I can't? What if the surgery doesn't work? Then you try again, and again, and again. Tombstone put his hand on Marcus's shoulder. That's what we do. We don't give up. Ever. Marcus nodded slowly. Can I ask you something? Anything. Will you be there at the hospital when I go in? Tombstone's throat tightened. Kid, I wouldn't miss it for the world. The night before surgery, Lily couldn't sleep. She crept into Marcus's room, found him awake too. Scared, she asked, terrified. Me too. She climbed onto his bed, curled up beside him like they used to do when they were little. Lily, yeah. What if I can't walk? What if all this was for nothing? It wasn't for nothing, her voice was firm. Even if the surgery doesn't work, and it will work, this wasn't for nothing. We showed everyone that we don't give up, that our family fights. That's not nothing. But I want to walk again. I want to run and play, and you will. Lily grabbed his hand. I know you will, because I prayed for it every night, and God owes us one. Marcus laughed, a wet, broken laugh. God owes us one, at least one, maybe two. I don't think that's how prayer works. I don't care. Lily squeezed his hand. Tomorrow you're going to be brave, and I'm going to be right there. And when you wake up, you're going to move your toes. I know it. How do you know? Because you're my brother, and my brother doesn't give up. Marcus held her hand tighter. I love you, Lily. I love you too. They fell asleep like that, Two kids against the world, together. Morning came too fast. Emma dressed Marcus in his best clothes. Not for any reason the hospital would put him in a gown anyway, but because it felt right. Tombstone arrived at 6 a.m., Ghost and Diesel with him. Ready? Tombstone asked. Marcus nodded. Ready. They loaded the wheelchair into the van. Emma drove. Tombstone rode beside them. The hospital was 40 minutes away, the longest 40 minutes of Emma's life. When they arrived, there was a crowd outside. Not protesters, not media, bikers, 70 of them, maybe more, lined up in formation, engines idling. What? Emma couldn't finish. They wanted to see him off, Tombstone said. Every one of them. Marcus stared out the window at the sea of leather and chrome. For me, for you. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. Tombstone helped him out of the van, wheeled him toward the hospital entrance. As they passed, every biker raised a fist. Silent, respectful, powerful. Marcus raised his fist in return. And for one perfect moment, a boy in a wheelchair was a king. The hospital doors closed behind them. Emma filled out paperwork, signed forms, answered questions. Lily sat beside Marcus, holding his hand. You're going to be okay, she whispered. I know. And when you wake up, I'm going to be right here. Promise, promise. A nurse appeared. Marcus Hartwell. We're ready for you. Emma kissed his forehead. I love you, baby. I love you too, Mom. Lily hugged him tight. Don't forget to wiggle your toes. I won't. They wheeled him away. Emma and Lily watched until he disappeared through the double doors. Then Emma collapsed into a chair and cried. Lily sat beside her, took her hand. He's going to be okay, Mama. I know, baby. Then why are you crying? Emma pulled her daughter close. Because sometimes happy tears and scared tears feel exactly the same. The surgery took 6 hours. Tombstone stayed the whole time. So did Ghost and Diesel and a dozen other riders. They didn't talk much, just sat, waited, prayed in their own ways. At hour 4, Lily fell asleep against Tombstone's shoulder. He didn't move her. At hour 5, Emma started pacing. At hour 6, the doors opened. The surgeon walked out, mask pulled down, face unreadable. Emma grabbed Tombstone's arm. Mrs. Hartwell. Yes, how is he? Is he okay? The surgeon smiled. The surgery was successful. We repaired the damage to his spine. He's going to need extensive physical therapy, but what? But your son is going to walk again. Emma's legs gave out. Tombstone caught her. Lily woke up. What happened? What's wrong? Nothing's wrong, baby. Emma was laughing and crying at the same time. Nothing's wrong. Marcus is going to walk. Lily screamed, not a scared scream, a joy scream, the kind that echoed through hospital hallways and made nurses smile. She threw herself at Tombstone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tombstone held her tight. And for the first time in 15 years, Nathaniel Graves let himself cry. They let Lily see Marcus first. He was groggy, pale, hooked up to machines, but his eyes were open. Hey, she whispered. Hey, how do you feel? Like someone hit me with a truck. He almost smiled. Again. Lily laughed, tears streaming down her face. Can you feel your legs? Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then slowly his toes moved. Just a twitch, barely visible. But it was there. I felt that, he whispered. Lily, I felt that. Lily grabbed his hand and sobbed. Outside, Emma watched through the window. Tombstone stood beside her. Thank you, she said, for everything. You already thanked me. I'll thank you every day for the rest of my life. She turned to face him. You gave my son his future back. You gave my daughter her hope back. You gave me my family back. Tombstone looked at the two children in the hospital room. A boy who would walk again. A girl who never stopped fighting. No, he said quietly. They gave me mine. Recovery was harder than surgery. That's what the doctors told Marcus. That's what the physical therapist told him. That's what everyone told him. They were right. 2 days after the operation, Marcus tried to move his legs for the first time. Nothing happened. He stared at his feet, willed them to move, begged them to move. Nothing. It's okay, the therapist said. This is normal. Your nerves are healing. It takes time. How much time? Weeks, maybe months. Marcus closed his eyes. He'd been so hopeful. When his toes twitched after surgery, he thought he'd be walking within days, dancing within weeks, running within months. Now reality hit hard. I can't do this, he whispered. Yes, you can. You don't understand. I've been in this wheelchair for 8 months. 8 months of watching everyone else live while I just sat there. The therapist pulled up a chair, sat down beside him. My name is David. I was in a wheelchair for 3 years. Marcus looked at him, really looked. David was standing, walking, moving like it was nothing. What happened? Car accident, spinal cord injury. Doctors said I'd never walk again. David smiled. I told them they were wrong. Then I spent 3 years proving it. 3 years. Every day, every single day, even when I wanted to quit, even when I thought I couldn't take another minute. David leaned forward. You know what got me through? What? A promise. I promised my little sister I'd walk her down the aisle at her wedding. She was 12 when I made that promise. She was 15 when I kept it. Marcus thought of Lily, her lemonade stand, her fierce determination. I have a sister too, he said quietly. Then you have a reason. David stood up, offered his hand. Now, let's try again. Marcus took his hand, and they tried again. Lily visited every day. She'd sit beside Marcus's bed and talk about everything, about nothing, about the bikers who kept showing up with cards and gifts, about Mrs. Patterson who'd started a neighborhood meal train, about the reporters who still called asking for interviews. You're famous, she told him. No, you're famous. I'm just the brother. You're not just anything. Lily poked his arm. You're the reason I started selling lemonade. You're the reason any of this happened. That's not a good thing. Yes, it is. Her voice was fierce. Without you, I'd just be a regular kid, boring, normal. But because of you, I learned how to fight, how to not give up, how to make 70 bikers buy terrible lemonade. Marcus laughed. It hurt his back, but he didn't care. Your lemonade was pretty terrible. I know. Ghost told me. He said it tasted like someone melted a bag of sugar and added a splash of lemon-scented water. That's accurate. I'm going to learn to make it better. Real lemonade. So when you get out of here, we can open a real stand. Together. Marcus's throat tightened. Yeah. Lily grabbed his hand. Hartwell's Lemonade. Best in Texas. No more sugar water. That's a terrible business name. You come up with something better. Marcus thought for a moment. How about Angel's Lemonade because of the bikers? Lily's eyes lit up. I love it. Week 1 of physical therapy was hell. Marcus couldn't move his legs, could barely feel them. Every session ended in frustration and tears. I can't do it, he told David. I'm trying so hard, but nothing's happening. Something's happening. You just can't see it yet. What's happening? Because from here, it looks like I'm just lying in bed being useless. David pulled out his phone, showed Marcus a video. This is me, 6 months after my accident. On the screen, a man lay in a hospital bed exactly like Marcus. Pale, frustrated, hopeless. That looks like me, Marcus said. Exactly. David swiped to another video. This is me 1 year later. The same man now in a wheelchair, but his legs were moving. Just a little. Just enough. And this? David swiped again. This is me 3 years later. The man was walking, slowly with a cane, but walking. Progress isn't always visible, David said. Sometimes it's happening inside where you can't see it. Your nerves are reconnecting. Your muscles are remembering. Trust the process. Marcus stared at the video. How did you not give up? I did give up lots of times, but then I'd remember my sister, and I'd start again. David put away his phone. What do you remember when you want to quit? Marcus thought. My dad, he died saving me. If I give up, his sacrifice means nothing. Then don't give up. It's not that simple. Yes, David said, it is. So, week 2, progress. Tiny, almost invisible progress, but progress. Marcus's big toe moved, not a twitch, a real deliberate movement. "I did it," he shouted. "David, I did it." David was across the room in seconds. "Do it again." Marcus concentrated. His toe moved. Again. It moved again. David grabbed his hand, shook it. "That's step one. Now we work on step two." "What's step two?" "The rest of your foot." Emma quit looking for jobs. She didn't have to anymore. Donations kept coming, from the viral videos, from the news coverage, from people across the country who'd heard about a little girl's lemonade stand. The total now $93,000. More than enough for Marcus's surgery. More than enough for physical therapy. More than enough for whatever came next. "What do we do with the extra?" Lily asked. Emma sat at the kitchen table staring at the numbers. "I've been thinking about that. Can we buy a pool?" "No, we cannot buy a pool." "A trampoline." "Marcus just had spinal surgery, no trampolines." "A pony," Emma laughed. "Where would we put a pony?" "In the backyard, obviously." Emma pulled Lily onto her lap. "Actually, I was thinking about something else. Something important. More important than a pony. Much more important." Emma took a breath. "What if we use the extra money to help other families, families like ours? Families with sick kids who can't afford surgery." Lily was quiet for a moment. "Like, start a charity." "Exactly, the Lily May Foundation, for children who need medical help." Lily's eyes went wide. "You'd name it after me. You started this. You stood on that corner in the heat selling lemonade for 50 cents when everyone told you it was impossible. You earned this." Lily threw her arms around her mother. "I love you, Mama." "I love you too, baby. But can we still get a pony?" "No." Tombstone heard about the foundation idea from Ghost. "She wants to help other kids," Ghost said. "Like Sarah." Tombstone didn't respond right away. They were at Rusty's bar, same table as always, but something felt different. "We should help," Tombstone finally said. "Help how?" "The club, Guardian Angel program. We already protect kids, but protecting isn't enough. We should be helping them get better too." Ghost nodded slowly. "You're talking about partnering with the foundation." "I'm talking about doing more than riding around looking scary." Tombstone's voice was heavy. "Sarah died because we couldn't afford experimental treatment. Insurance wouldn't cover it. By the time we raised enough money, it was too late. That wasn't your fault." "Maybe not, but I could have done more. I should have done more." Tombstone stood up. "Call Emma. Tell her the Hells Angels want to contribute, not just money, resources, connections, everything we have." "You sure about this? It'll change the club's image." "Good." Tombstone grabbed his jacket. "Maybe it's time our image changed." Onto week 3, Marcus stood. Just for a second, just with David holding him up, just barely. But he stood. Emma cried. Lily screamed. Marcus laughed until his sides hurt. "I stood," he kept saying. "I stood." David grinned. "Tomorrow we work on standing for 2 seconds. 2 whole seconds. Slow down, man." Day after that, 3 seconds, then 5, then 10, then I walk. Then you walk. Marcus looked at his legs. The same legs that hadn't moved in 8 months. The same legs that doctors said might never work again. "I'm going to walk," he whispered, and for the first time he really believed it. Victoria Sterling's trial began 3 weeks after Marcus's surgery. Emma didn't want to go, didn't want to see that woman's face ever again. But the prosecutor asked her to testify. "About what?" Emma asked. "About the harassment, the jobs you lost, the social services complaint, everything she did to your family. Will it make a difference? It will help put her away for a very long time." Emma agreed to testify. The courtroom was packed. Media, spectators, curious neighbors who'd watched the whole thing unfold. Victoria sat at the defendant's table. She looked smaller than Emma remembered. Pale, thin, like she'd aged 20 years in a month. Their eyes met across the room. Victoria looked away first. Emma took the witness stand, told her story, every detail, every humiliation, every threat. When she got to the part about the social services complaint, her voice broke. "They tried to take my children, Because we were poor. Because we fought back. Because a 9-year-old girl dared to sell lemonade on a public street. The courtroom was silent. I've worked my whole life. 3 dozen, 18-hour days. And it still wasn't enough. Not because I'm lazy. Not because I'm stupid. But because the system is broken. Because people like Victoria Sterling can destroy families with a phone call and no one stops them. Emma looked directly at Victoria. My daughter is 9 years old. She stood in 100-degree heat selling lemonade for 50 cents because she believed she could save her brother. And you with your Mercedes and your mansion and your million-dollar lawyers, you tried to crush her. Victoria's eyes dropped. But she didn't break. My little girl didn't break. And neither did I. And neither did Marcus. Emma's voice rose. You threw everything you had at us, and we're still standing. We're still here, and we're going to keep standing long after you're gone. The courtroom erupted. The judge banged his gavel, but it took a full minute to restore order. When Emma stepped down from the stand, Tombstone was waiting in the gallery. He nodded once. She nodded back. No words needed. Victoria Sterling was convicted on 12 counts. Fraud, bribery, conspiracy, intimidation, filing false reports, and 1 count of accessory to murder after the fact for her first husband's disappearance in 1987. Total sentence 45 years. She would die in prison. Emma watched the verdict on TV, Lily on one side, Marcus on the other. Is she going to jail forever? Lily asked. For a very long time. Good. Lily's voice was firm. She was mean. Yes, baby, she was. Marcus was quiet, staring at the screen. Marcus, you okay? I'm thinking about Bradley. Emma's brow furrowed. What about him? His mom's going to prison. His dad's cooperating with the FBI, so maybe he won't go to prison, but everything Bradley knew is gone. His whole life. He made his choices. I know, but... Marcus shook his head. I just keep thinking. If Dad had lived, if the accident hadn't happened, I could have been like him. Angry, mean, taking it out on everyone else. Emma pulled him close. But you're not. You're nothing like him. Because I have you and Lily and the bikers. Marcus's voice was thick. Bradley never had anyone teach him how to be good. His mom taught him how to be cruel. That doesn't excuse what he did. No, but maybe it explains it. Marcus looked at his mother. I want to forgive him. Emma's heart clenched. You don't have to. I know, but I want to. Not for him, for me. Marcus took a breath. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Isn't that what Grandma used to say? Emma's eyes filled with tears. Yeah, baby, that's exactly what she used to say. The next day, Marcus asked Ghost for a favor. I want you to find Bradley Sterling. Ghost raised an eyebrow. Why, come? Well, because I want to talk to him. After everything he did. Because of everything he did. Marcus gripped his wheelchair. I spent 8 months hating myself, blaming myself for Dad's death, and it almost destroyed me. I don't want that for anyone else, not even him. Ghost studied the boy in front of him. You're a better person than me, kid. No, I'm just tired of being angry. Ghost nodded slowly. I'll find him. Bradley Sterling was living with his grandmother in Austin. His father was in a federal facility cooperating with prosecutors. His mother was awaiting sentencing. Everyone he'd ever known had abandoned him. Ghost pulled up to the house on a Saturday afternoon. Bradley was in the driveway shooting basketball alone. He froze when he saw the motorcycle. Relax, Ghost said, dismounting. I'm not here to hurt you. Then why are you here? Someone wants to talk to you. Who? Ghost stepped aside. Emma's van pulled up behind him. The door opened, and Marcus Hartwell wheeled himself out. Bradley's face went white. What are you doing here? Marcus wheeled closer. I wanted to see you. Why, how? Because I've been where you are. Bradley's jaw tightened. You have no idea where I am. You're angry, scared, alone. Everyone you trusted is gone and you don't know who you are anymore. Marcus stopped in front of him. How am I doing? Bradley didn't answer. After my dad died, I blamed myself. Every day. I thought about ending it, about just disappearing so my mom and Lily wouldn't have to carry me anymore. Bradley's eyes flickered. But I didn't, because my sister wouldn't let me. And then the bikers came, and they showed me that I wasn't a burden. I was a reason for people to fight. Why are you telling me this? Because you don't have to become what your mother was. Marcus's voice was firm. You have a choice. Right now, today, you can spend the rest of your life angry and bitter, blaming everyone else for your problems. Or you can decide to be different. Bradley's lip trembled. How everything's gone, my family, my friends, my future. I'm the son of a murderer and a fraud. Nobody's going to give me a second chance. I am. Bradley stared. I forgive you, Marcus said, for what you did to Lily, for what you said about me, for all of it. Why was it now? Because holding on to that anger would destroy me, and I refuse to let that happen. Marcus extended his hand. What you do with this is up to you, but I want you to know that it's possible. Starting over, being better, it's possible. Bradley looked at the hand, then slowly he took it. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry. I know. They stood there, one boy in a wheelchair, one boy with nothing left, connected by a handshake and a chance at redemption. Ghost watched from a distance, and for the first time he understood what Tombstone had been trying to tell him for years. The real fight wasn't about fists or weapons. It was about this, breaking the cycle, one person at a time. Week 6, Marcus took his first step. Just one. Just with David on one side and parallel bars on the other. But he took it. One step, David said, grinning. Tomorrow, 2. Marcus was crying too hard to respond. That night he video called Lily. I took a step. Lily screamed so loud Emma came running from the kitchen. What happened? What's wrong? It bait. Marcus took a step. Emma grabbed the phone. Baby, are you serious? One step, Mom. I walked one step. Emma sat down heavily. I'm coming to see you tomorrow. First thing. You don't have to. I'm coming, and I'm bringing everyone. Everyone turned out to be the entire Hells Angels chapter. 70 bikers crowded into the physical therapy room, filling every corner, spilling into the hallway. This is against about 50 hospital regulations, the nurse said. We'll be quick, Tombstone assured her. Marcus stood at the parallel bars, David beside him. Ready, David asked. Ready. Marcus took a breath, gripped the bars, and stepped. 1 step, 2 steps, 3, 4, 5. He made it to the end of the bars before his legs gave out. The room exploded. 70 bikers cheering, stomping, whistling, Emma crying, Lily screaming. Even the nurse was wiping her eyes. Tombstone pushed through the crowd and crouched beside Marcus's wheelchair. Proud of you, kid. Marcus was breathing hard, tears streaming down his face. 5 steps. 5 steps today, 50 tomorrow, 500 next week. Then what? Tombstone smiled. Then you race Lily down Maple Street. Marcus laughed. A real, full, joyful laugh. She's gonna lose. Don't tell her that. 2 months after surgery, Marcus went home. Not in a wheelchair, on crutches. The whole neighborhood came out to watch. Mrs. Patterson, the truck driver who'd bought 3 cups of lemonade, strangers who'd seen the viral videos, and the bikers. Of course, the bikers. They lined Maple Street like an honor guard, engines rumbling, chrome gleaming. Marcus stood at the end of the block, crutches under his arms, Lily beside him. You ready? She asked. I've been ready for 8 months. Then let's go home. Step by step, inch by inch, Marcus walked down Maple Street. Not fast, not graceful, but walking. 70 engines revved in rhythm with his steps. Neighbors cheered, cameras flashed. Lily cried and laughed at the same time. When Marcus reached the porch, he stopped, looked at the spot where his wheelchair used to sit, then climbed the 3 steps, on his own feet. Emma caught him at the top. Welcome home, baby. Thanks, Mom. Marcus's voice cracked. It's good to be standing. Tim. That night, they had a celebration. The whole neighborhood showed up. Bikers, neighbors. Even Jennifer Walsh from Channel 7, though she came without her camera crew. This is off the record, she told Emma. I just wanted to see the end of the story. Is it the end? It feels like it. Jennifer smiled. Little girl sells lemonade. Bikers come to help. Bad guys go to prison. Brother walks again. That's a happy ending. Emma looked around at her home filled with people who'd started as strangers and become family. It's not an ending, she said. It's a beginning. Tombstone found Lily alone on the back porch. She was sitting on the steps staring at the stars. Party too loud, he asked. No, I just wanted to think. About what? About Dad. Tombstone sat down beside her. He would have loved this, Lily said quietly. All the people, the food, Marcus walking again. He would have loved you. He did love me. Lily's voice trembled. But sometimes I forget what he looked like. His face, his voice, it scares me. Tombstone was quiet for a moment. I forget Sarah's voice too sometimes. Her laugh, the way she said my name. He looked at the sky, but I remember how she made me feel safe, loved, important, and that never fades. Lily leaned against his arm. Do you think they can see us, Daddy and Sarah? I don't know, but I like to think so. Me too. They sat in silence watching the stars. Mr. Tombstone. Yeah, little warrior. Thank you for everything. You already thanked me. I know, but I mean it. Like really mean it. Lily looked up at him. You saved us. You saved my whole family, and I'll never forget that. Tombstone's eyes glistened. You saved me too, kid. How? By reminding me why I started doing this. Why I made those promises to Sarah. He put his arm around her. You gave an old broken man a reason to keep fighting. Lily hugged him tight. You're not broken. You're just cracked. Like a beautiful violin that's been glued back together. Tombstone laughed a real deep laugh. Where'd you hear that? I made it up, right now. It's pretty good. I know. They sat there until Emma called them in for cake. And for that one perfect moment surrounded by family, both blood and chosen. Neither of them felt cracked at all. Late that night, after everyone had gone home, Marcus sat on the front porch. Not in his wheelchair, on the steps. His crutches lay beside him. His legs stretched out in front of him. He could feel the cool wood against his calves, the night breeze on his feet, feelings he thought he'd never have again. Can't sleep. He turned. Emma stood in the doorway. Just thinking. She sat down beside him. Good thoughts or bad thoughts? Good mostly. Marcus took a breath. I was thinking about Dad. Yeah. He saved my life, gave his life so I could live. And for so long, I felt like I didn't deserve it, like his sacrifice was wasted. Amai took his hand. But now, Marcus's voice caught. Now I think maybe I was wrong. Maybe his sacrifice wasn't about me being worthy. Maybe it was just love, simple love. And maybe the best way to honor that isn't to punish myself, but to live, really live. Emma's tears fell silently. That's exactly what he'd want. You think so? I know so. She squeezed his hand. Your father loved you more than anything in this world. He would have done what he did 1,000 times over. No regrets. Marcus nodded slowly. I'm going to make him proud. Baby, you already have. They sat together as the night deepened. Mother and son, survivors. At the end of Maple Street, the rumble of a motorcycle faded into the distance, Tombstone heading home after checking one last time that the family was safe. Marcus heard it and smiled. He wasn't alone anymore. None of them were. And in the quiet of the night, a boy who'd lost everything found something he never expected. Not just the ability to walk, but the reason to keep walking. Forward, always forward. 1 year changes everything. Lily stood at the corner of Maple Street, exactly where her lemonade stand had been 12 months ago. The battered wooden table was gone, replaced by something bigger, something permanent. A bronze plaque embedded in the sidewalk. Lily's Corner, it read, where one girl's courage changed a town. Dedicated to all who fight for those they love. The mayor had unveiled it that morning. Cameras flashed, reporters asked questions. The whole town turned out. But now everyone was gone. Just Lily alone with the memories. You okay, little warrior? She turned. Tombstone stood behind her helmet under his arm. I'm okay. Just thinking. About what? About how different everything is. Lily touched the plaque. A year ago, I was standing right here picking up coins from the dirt. And now, and now you're a legend. Lily laughed. I'm not a legend. I'm just a kid who made really bad lemonade. You're more than that. Tombstone crouched beside her. You're proof that one person can change everything. That size doesn't matter. That heart matters. You helped. You and Ghost and all the others. We showed up, but you started it. Tombstone's voice was thick. You stood there in the heat when everyone told you to quit. You fought when everyone said it was hopeless. That's not us. That's you. Lily looked at the plaque again. I wish Daddy could see it. He can kid. Wherever he is, he can. Lily leaned against Tombstone's shoulder. Thank you for everything. You already thanked me about 1,000 times. I'll thank you 1,000 more. Marcus walked without crutches now. Not perfectly. He still had a limp, still needed to rest after long distances, still had days when his legs ached and his back screamed. But he walked. Today, he was walking toward something he'd been planning for months. The Lily Mae Foundation's first annual fundraiser. Emma had organized everything. A carnival in the town square. Games, food rides, all proceeds going to help families with sick children. And at the center of it all, a lemonade stand. But not just any lemonade stand. This one was professional. Real lemons, real recipe, real quality. You ready? Lily asked, tying on her apron. Ready. Marcus stood beside her, on his own 2 feet. Let's do this. They opened for business at noon. By 1 o'clock, they'd sold 300 cups. By 2, 500. By 3, they'd run out of lemons. We need more supplies, Lily shouted. Ghost appeared like magic. Already on it. He revved his engine and disappeared down the street. 10 minutes later, he returned with 2 other bikers, their saddlebags stuffed with lemons. Where did you get all those? Emma asked. Every grocery store in a 20-mile radius. Ghost grinned. We told them it was for Lily. Nobody said no. Tatum. The carnival raised $47,000. Emma announced it on stage as the sun went down. The crowd erupted. This money will help 12 families pay for their children's medical care, she said, voice breaking. 12 children who will get the treatment they need because of what we built together. She looked at Lily, at Marcus, at Tombstone and Ghost, and the dozens of bikers who'd shown up to help. A year ago, I was a single mother working 3 jobs, drowning in debt, watching my son suffer and my daughter fight alone. I thought we were forgotten, invisible, worthless. The crowd went silent. But I was wrong. We were never invisible. We were never worthless. We just hadn't found our family yet. Emma's tears fell. And now we have. All of you. Every person who bought lemonade, who donated, who showed up, who believed in a little girl's impossible dream. She raised her glass of lemonade to Lily, to Marcus, to the Hell's Angels, and to everyone who proves every day that love is stronger than cruelty. The crowd raised their cups. To love, Later that night, Tombstone found Emma alone behind the stage. Hell of a speech. Hell of a year. Emma wiped her eyes. I still can't believe it sometimes. That this is my life now. Better than before. Different. Better. Harder in some ways. She looked at him. What about you? What's next for the great Tombstone? He was quiet for a moment. I'm going to visit Sarah's grave tomorrow. First time in 3 years. Emma's breath caught. 3 years? I couldn't do it. After she died, I went once and I broke, completely broke. So I stopped going. Told myself I was honoring her by helping other kids. He shook his head, but really I was just running. What changed? Lily. His voice cracked. Watching her fight, watching her refuse to give up. She reminded me so much of Sarah, and I realized I've been hiding from my daughter's memory instead of celebrating it. Emma took his hand. She'd be proud of you, Nathaniel. Tombstone looked at her. Nobody had called him by his real name in years. You think so? I know so. You've saved hundreds of kids. Built something that will outlast all of us. That's her legacy. Not a grave, not a memory. This. Tombstone's eyes glistened. Will you come with me tomorrow to her grave? Emma squeezed his hand. Of course. Sarah Grace Graves was buried in a small cemetery outside Austin. Emma drove. Tombstone sat in the passenger seat silent the whole way. When they arrived, he didn't move. Take your time, Emma said. He took a breath, then another. Then he opened the door and stepped out. The walk to Sarah's grave was the longest of his life. She was buried under an oak tree, a simple stone, no angels, no fancy carvings, just her name, her dates, and 4 words, Daddy's little warrior. Tombstone knelt in the grass. Hey, baby girl. The wind stirred the leaves. I'm sorry I haven't been here. I'm sorry I couldn't face you. I'm sorry for so many things. His voice broke. But I want you to know something. I found someone who reminds me of you. A little girl named Lily. She's fierce and brave and stubborn as hell, just like you were. He placed a small yellow flower on the stone, Lily's favorite color. I've been protecting kids, hundreds of them, in your name, because I couldn't protect you, and it was the only way I knew to keep going. Tears streamed down his face. I miss you, Sarah. Every day, every single day. But I'm not running anymore. I'm going to keep fighting for you, for Lily, for every kid who needs someone to stand up for them. He kissed his fingers and pressed them to the stone. I love you, baby girl, forever. The wind blew stronger, and Tombstone swore he heard a child's laugh faint and far away. He stood, wiped his eyes, walked back to the car. Emma was waiting. You okay? No. He took a breath. But I will be. Ghost had his own journey to make. 3 days after the fundraiser, he rode to a cemetery in Houston, his sister's grave, Madison McAllister. She'd been 14 when she died, bullied relentlessly for 2 years. One day she just gave up. Ghost had been 19, away at college. He'd gotten the call from his mother and his world had collapsed. He'd blamed himself ever since, for not being there, for not seeing the signs, for not saving her. Now he stood at her grave holding a photograph. It was Lily and Marcus grinning at the camera surrounded by bikers. I found them, Maddie, he said quietly. Kids like you, kids who need someone to fight for them. And I've been fighting, every day. He placed the photograph against the stone. There's this little girl, Lily. She reminds me of you. Same fire, same determination, same stubborn refusal to quit. His voice cracked. I couldn't save you, but I saved her. And I'm going to keep saving kids like her for the rest of my life. He knelt in the grass. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. I'm sorry I didn't see what you were going through. But I promise you, Maddie, no kid will ever feel alone as long as I'm breathing. He stayed there for an hour. When he finally stood, something had shifted. The guilt wasn't gone, would never be completely gone, but it was lighter, and that was enough. Bradley Sterling reached out 2 months later. Emma answered the phone with suspicion. Mrs. Hartwell, this is Bradley. Bradley Sterling. Silence. I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, and I don't blame you, but I wanted to ask, is there any way I could volunteer at the foundation? Emma nearly dropped the phone. You want to volunteer? I want to help, to make up for what I did, even a little. Bradley's voice was different, quieter, humbler. Marcus talked to me that day he came to Austin, and I can't stop thinking about what he said, about choosing to be different. And you think volunteering will make you different? No, I think actions will make me different. And volunteering is a start. He paused. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve that. I'm just asking for a chance. Emma thought about everything the Sterlings had done. The harassment, the threats, the attempt to take her children. Then she thought about what Marcus had said, about breaking the cycle. Saturday, 9 a.m., don't be late. I won't be. Thank you, Mrs. Hartwell. He hung up. Emma stood in her kitchen, phone in hand, wondering if she just made the biggest mistake of her life, or the most important decision. Bradley showed up at 8:45. He was nervous, awkward, completely out of his element. Lily saw him first. You. Bradley flinched. Yeah, me. You're the one who dumped my money in the dirt. I am. And called my brother a cripple. I did. And tried to ruin my family. I did that too. Bradley's voice was quiet. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Lily studied him. 9 years old, 4 feet tall, looking up at a 17-year-old who tormented her. Are you really sorry? Or just saying it because you got caught? Both at first. Bradley swallowed. But then Marcus came to see me, and he forgave me, and I couldn't understand why. I'd done terrible things to his family, and he just forgave me like it was nothing. It wasn't nothing. I know, that's what made it mean so much. Bradley knelt down eye level with Lily. I can't take back what I did. I can't undo any of it, but I can try to be better. And if you'll let me, I want to help. I want to prove that people can change. Lily was quiet for a long moment. Then she handed him an apron. You're on lemon duty, and if you mess up, Ghost will probably kill you. Bradley almost smiled. Fair enough. He came back every Saturday, then every Wednesday too. Then whenever he wasn't in school. At first people whispered. The Sterling's volunteering at the foundation his mother had tried to destroy. It felt like a joke, a publicity stunt. But Bradley kept showing up. He squeezed lemons until his hands cramped. He carried supplies until his arms ached. He listened to sick children's stories and held their hands when they were scared. He never complained, never made excuses, never acted like he was owed anything. And slowly, painfully, people began to believe he might actually be changing. You're doing good work, Marcus told him one afternoon. Bradley looked up from the box he was carrying. You think, I know, the kids love you? They don't know who I am. They know who you're becoming. Marcus put his hand on Bradley's shoulder. That's what matters. Bradley's eyes filled with tears. I don't deserve this. Nobody deserves anything. We just get chances. Marcus smiled. What we do with them is up to us. 6 months later, the foundation had helped 53 families, 53 children who'd received surgeries, treatments, medications they couldn't afford. 53 families who'd been saved from drowning in medical debt. The news covered it constantly. Jennifer Walsh did a documentary. National networks picked up the story. And at the center of it all, a 12-year-old girl who'd started with nothing but a phone and a dream. How does it feel, a reporter asked Lily at the foundation's anniversary celebration. How does what feel being famous, being a hero, changing so many lives? Lily thought about it. I'm not a hero. Heroes wear capes and fly around. I just made lemonade. But you saved your brother. You started a movement. I just loved someone enough to fight for them. Lily shrugged. Anyone can do that. You don't need superpowers. You just need to care. The reporter smiled. What would you say to other kids who want to make a difference? Lily looked into the camera. Start small, care big, and never ever give up. Because you never know who's watching. You never know who you might inspire. You never know what one cup of lemonade might become. The ride happened on the anniversary. 100 Harleys from chapters across Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and beyond. They gathered at Maple Street at dawn, engines rumbling, chrome gleaming. Tombstone stood at the front. 1 year ago, he said, voice carrying, we rode to the street to protect a little girl who was mocked, humiliated, and attacked for trying to save her brother. The bikers listened in silence. We didn't know what would happen. We just knew it was right. And look what grew from that. He gestured to the foundation banner the families gathered, the children playing. This is what we fight for. This is why we ride. He climbed onto his bike. Today, we ride for Lily, for Marcus, for every child who needs to know they're not alone. He started his engine. 100 bikes roared to life, and the thunder rolled down Maple Street. Lily rode with Tombstone at the front. Marcus rode in a sidecar painted bright yellow, his favorite color now too. Emma rode with ghost tears streaming down her face. The parade wound through town, past the courthouse where Victoria Sterling had been convicted, past the hospital where Marcus had learned to walk again, past the cemetery where Daniel Hartwell was buried. They stopped there, 100 bikers' engines idling surrounding a grave. Lily climbed off Tombstone's bike and walked to her father's stone. Hey, Daddy. She knelt in the grass. I wish you could see all this. The foundation, the bikers, Marcus walking again. She touched the stone. You saved him, Daddy. And because you saved him, I had someone to fight for. And because I fought, all these people came to help. It's like your sacrifice started something that just kept growing. Tears fell. I miss you every day, but I'm not sad anymore because I know you're watching, and I know you're proud. She placed a yellow flower on the stone. I love you, Daddy, forever and ever. She stood, walked back to the bikes. Tombstone was waiting. Ready? Lily nodded. Ready? She climbed on, wrapped her arms around him, and the thunder of 100 engines carried her father's memory into the sky. That night, there was a party at the Hartwell house. Not a big fancy party, just family. The real kind. Bikers and neighbors and Foundation volunteers crowded into the small blue house, spilling into the yard, filling every corner with laughter and love. Marcus stood in the kitchen, pouring lemonade, on his own 2 feet. No crutches, no cane, just him. How does it feel, David asked. His physical therapist had become a close friend, like a miracle. Marcus handed him a cup, a slow, painful, incredible miracle. That's exactly what it is. David raised his cup. To miracles. To stubbornness, Marcus countered. Same thing. They laughed. Ghost found Lily alone in her bedroom. She was sitting on her bed holding an old photograph, her father young and smiling in his army uniform. Hey, little warrior, party's downstairs. I know, I just needed a minute. Ghost sat beside her. Tough day. Good day, but hard too. She looked at the photograph. I keep thinking about how it all started with this tiny little stand. And now you're changing the world. I'm just a kid. Kids change the world all the time. They just don't always know it. Ghost took the photograph gently, looked at Daniel Hartwell's face. He looks like Marcus. Everyone says that. I bet he was proud of you. I hope so. Lily took the photo back. Sometimes I try to imagine what he'd say about all of this, the bikers, the foundation, everything. What do you think he'd say? Lily was quiet for a moment. I think he'd say, that's my girl. Ghost's throat tightened. He'd be right. Emma found Tombstone on the porch, same spot where they'd had their first real conversation. Seemed like a lifetime ago, hiding from the party. Just taking a breath, he moved over. Join me. She sat beside him. Hell of a year. You keep saying that. Because it keeps being true. Emma looked up at the stars. A year ago I was alone, drowning, hopeless. Now I have everything, more than everything. Things I didn't even know I was missing. She turned to face him. Including you. Tombstone went still. Emma? I know it's complicated. I know you've got your club and your mission and 1,000 reasons why this is a bad idea. It's not. Let me finish. She took his hand. I'm not asking for anything. I'm not expecting anything. I just want you to know that you matter to me. Not because you saved my kids. Not because you gave us money. Because of who you are. The real you. The one who cries at his daughter's grave and reads bedtime stories to sick children and pretends he doesn't like Lily's terrible lemonade. Tombstone almost smiled. It's not that terrible anymore. It's still pretty bad. Yeah, it is. They laughed, soft, quiet. Then Tombstone squeezed her hand. I care about you too. All of you. More than I've cared about anything in 15 years. His voice dropped. But I'm scared, Emma. I don't know how to be this, whatever this is. Neither do I. Emma leaned against his shoulder. But I'm tired of being scared. I've been scared my whole life, of debt, of failure, of losing my kids. And all that fear got me was exhaustion. So what do you want? I want to try whatever this is. I want to try. Tombstone looked at her, at this woman who'd lost everything and built it back, who'd fought when fighting seemed impossible, who'd opened her heart to a broken old biker with nothing to offer but loyalty. Okay, he said. Okay, let's try. Emma smiled, a real smile, the kind that comes from somewhere deep. And on the porch of a small blue house on Maple Street, two people who'd thought love was behind them discovered it was just beginning. 5 years later, Lily gave a speech. She was 14 now. Tall, confident, still fierce. The Lily Mae Foundation had helped over 1,000 families, built 3 clinics, funded research, changed laws, and today they were breaking ground on something new. The Sarah Grace Children's Hospital. Named for a little girl who died of leukemia, built by a brotherhood who refused to let her memory fade. Tombstone stood in the crowd, Emma beside him, watching Lily take the stage. When I was 9 years old, Lily began, I set up a lemonade stand on the corner of Maple Street. I didn't have a permit. I didn't have a business plan. I didn't have anything except a sick brother and a dream. The crowd listened in silence. People laughed at me, called me names, dumped my money in the dirt, told me I was wasting my time, that I'd never raise enough, that I should just give up. She paused. But I didn't give up, because my brother needed me, and then something amazing happened. 70 strangers on motorcycles showed up and changed everything. She looked at Tombstone. They weren't strangers for long. They became family, real family, the kind that shows up when you need them most, the kind that fights for you even when the whole world says you're not worth fighting for. Her voice strengthened. This hospital is for every child who feels alone, every family drowning in medical debt, every parent who's ever stayed up all night wondering how they'll pay for their kids' treatment. She gestured to the construction site. This is proof that love wins, that one person can make a difference, that angels don't always have wings. Sometimes they have leather jackets and loud motorcycles and hearts bigger than anyone knows. She raised her fist. For Sarah, for my dad, for every child who needs to know they matter. The crowd erupted. Tombstone wiped his eyes, didn't bother hiding it. Emma squeezed his hand. She's incredible, she whispered. She always was. Marcus spoke next. He walked to the podium, no limp anymore. 4 years of therapy had rebuilt what was broken. When I was 11, he said, I thought my life was over. I'd lost my father, lost the use of my legs, lost hope. I wrote a letter once saying maybe it would be easier if I just wasn't here. The crowd went silent. My sister found that letter, and she told me something I'll never forget. She said I would sell lemonade until I was 100 years old for you. And she meant it, every word. His voice cracked. Today I'm 21 years old. I'm a physical therapist at Cedar Hollow Medical. I help kids like me learn to walk again. And every day I remember what Lily taught me, that we're not burdens, we're reasons for the people who love us to fight. He looked at his sister. This hospital exists because a 9-year-old girl refused to give up, because 70 bikers refused to look away, because a whole community decided that one family's pain was worth fighting for. He raised his hand toward the crowd. This is what we built, together. And as long as this hospital stands, no child will ever feel as alone as I did. No family will ever drown the way we almost did, because we'll be here, fighting, forever. The ceremony ended with 100 Harleys roaring past the construction site. Tombstone led them, Ghost beside him, Diesel, Whisper, riders who'd been there from the beginning. And at the back, riding a custom-painted yellow motorcycle, was Marcus. He'd learned to ride 2 years ago. Ghost had taught him. This is freedom, Marcus had said the first time he hit the open road. Now he rode with his family, his real family. The thunder echoed across Cedar Hollow, shaking windows, turning heads. But it wasn't a threat anymore. It was a promise. That night, Emma stood at Sarah's grave with Tombstone. They'd married 6 months ago. Small ceremony. Just family. The real kind. Think she'd approve, Emma asked, of what you, the hospital, the whole crazy thing? All of it. Tombstone looked at the stone, at his daughter's name. Think she'd say it's about time. His voice was rough. She always wanted a mom. Used to ask me when I was going to find someone, and I'd say, someday, baby, someday. It took a while. The best things do. Emma laid a yellow flower on the grave. Hi, Sarah. I know we never met, but I feel like I know you, through your dad, through the foundation, through everything we've built. The wind stirred the leaves. I promised to take care of him, to love him, to make sure he never forgets how much you meant. She stepped back. Tombstone put his arm around her. Thank you, he whispered. For what? For giving me a family again. Lily visited one last time before leaving for college. She stood at Lily's corner, now surrounded by the Sarah Grace Children's Hospital's completed first wing. 14 years since she'd stood on this spot with a jar of coins and a heart full of hope. 14 years since 70 strangers had changed her life. Big day tomorrow, Ghost said, walking up beside her. Yeah. Scared, terrified. Good, means you care. He stood beside her looking at the plaque. You know, when I first saw you, you were covered in lemonade and dirt picking up coins like your life depended on it. My brother's life depended on it. I know. That's what made you special. Ghost turned to face her. You're going to change the world, Lily Hartwell. You already have. But you're just getting started. Lily hugged him. I'll miss you. I'll be around. Just holler if you need me. Promise, promise. Tia, the whole family gathered for her send-off. Emma, Tombstone, Marcus, Ghost, Diesel, David. Bradley, now a foundation board member. Jennifer Walsh, now a friend. Mrs. Patterson, now 91, but still refusing to miss anything important. And 100 bikers lined up on Maple Street one last time. This is too much, Lily said, laughing through tears. This is exactly enough, Tombstone replied. You think we'd let you leave without a proper goodbye? I'm just going to college, 2 hours away. Doesn't matter, you're family. He handed her a small box. Inside was a leather patch, the Hells Angels logo with something added, a small lemon embroidered in yellow thread. Honorary member, Tombstone said. First ever. You earned it. Lily threw her arms around him. I love you. I love you too, little warrior. His voice cracked. Go change the world. She drove away as the sun rose. In her rearview mirror, 100 motorcycles followed her to the edge of town. At the city limits, they stopped. Engines idling, a wall of leather and chrome. Lily got out of her car, walked back to face them. Thank you, she said, for everything, for showing up when no one else would, for teaching me that family isn't just blood, for proving that angels don't always wear white. She raised her fist. 100 fists rose in response. For Sarah, someone shouted. For Sarah, the crowd echoed. For all of us, Lily added. The engines roared. 100 horns blared, and Lily Hartwell, the girl who'd sold lemonade for 50 cents and changed the world, climbed back in her car and drove toward her future. Behind her, Maple Street stood quiet in the morning light. The small blue house was still there. The porch where Marcus had sat in his wheelchair. The corner where Lily had stood with her jar. All of it remained, all of it remembered, and on the bronze plaque embedded in the sidewalk, the words still gleamed, Lily's Corner, where one girl's courage changed a town, dedicated to all who fight for those they love. The wind stirred the leaves. Somewhere in the distance, the thunder of engines faded. And in Cedar Hollow, Texas, a legacy was sealed, not of money, not of fame, not of power, but of love. The kind that starts with a jar of coins and ends with a hospital. The kind that transforms strangers into family. The kind that proves over and over again that one person can change everything. One child, one dream, one cup of lemonade at a time. Wow. They called them outlaws. Society said they were dangerous. But when a little girl needed protection, when a family needed hope, when a town needed to learn what dignity meant, it wasn't the church, the government, or the wealthy who answered. It was 70 men in leather who taught the world that angels don't always wear white. Sometimes they wear patches. Sometimes they ride Harleys. And sometimes the thunder of their engines is the most beautiful sound a child can hear. This is not just a story. This is a truth. Love wins every single time.